Hey, welcome back. We're still gaming and getting set up and hobbying here at the 40k weekend. Well, we haven't actually started gaming yet. We're still hobbying. And speaking of hobby, I'm going to catch up with Thomas Menes, who does some amazing conversions. And, like, you're living up to it right now, mate. I don't know what exactly you're doing, but it looks flipping amazing. What are you at here, Thomas?
I'm doing Eldar, and I love the jet bikes. Wait, I'll take one that's finished.
Well, it was finished,
Breaking it
so it
down.
fell apart.
Let me just fix this while we're talking.
What are you actually doing, though? Because, like, we've seen these on camera, and I sort of just briefly went past them. And as I was on camera, I was looking, I'm going, I have to come back to talk to Thomas again, because it looks amazing.
Yeah, what I basically did is I took a pterodon, like the lizardman they're seraphon these days. Used to be lizardman. I took the pterodons for it. I cut down a jet bike just to be able to make some kind of a saddle.
Oh, man.
Just put a saddle on there, and then underneath two pods for the big shooty thingies, and the rest is a bit of green stuff to put leather strips on it to get everything in place. And then the hardest part is putting the guardians on there, well, the guys on there, because they have to be in really exotic poses and strange poses because they're really wrestling with the animal and trying to...
Let me put down this, right? I'm going to put this down here and we'll get a few over. Is this the same sort of thing going on here?
Yeah.
Yep, because it was the poses was part of what I was looking at and going, oh, it just looks amazing.
Yeah, the pose, that's the hard part, because so what you do is basically you cut all the miniatures in tiny pieces and then you run a pin through that. People who have seen my videos know that I pin everything, just about anything. And then you can pose them any which way you want them to be posed, and you do funky stuff with that.
Oh, man.
Basically.
How are you making such progress if you have to do all that? Like pinning and posing and getting on? Because I would be getting killed by procrastination at this point.
Yeah, well, progress, this army, I started on it 2 years ago, and this is what I have at the moment. So I wouldn't call it I wouldn't exactly call it progress, but...
Procrastination, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, let's go over and see who's up to what. Let's go over and see. Can we reach Johnny? Johnny's one of our club members who comes in regularly. Johnny, you're live.
I'm live. Hello.
I'm bringing you live onto the internet.
Hello,
Internet.
everybody.
Johnny, internet.
Greetings, internet.
What are you at here, Johnny?
Some Raven Wing sidecar conversions for my assault bikes today.
Oh,
Instead of keeping them sort of standard, they're going to be nice Raven Wing variants with the wings
super
and such.
cool. Now, is this an army that you're starting afresh, or is this stuff you're adding to your
Well,
army?
that's the stuff I'm adding. So I've got like the normal Raven Wing bikes, and then I'm adding the attack bikes to this army now.
Are we going to see this fielded?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you're gonna be bringing this into the club to kick ass.
Yeah, no one's going to like me at the end of the weekend.
Oh man, do you know what color scheme you're gonna be going with?
Going to go all black.
All blacks.
All blacks with white wings.
Cool. It does sound amazing. Right, we'll have to come back to that. Right, we're going to see what you guys in the community have been up to because we've got Warren and Jerry ready in the Weekender set. We're going to have a look through your projects along with Ben. I'm excited to see what you guys have been up to. Oh, over to you guys in the studio.
And thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, Lloyd. Right. Okay. If you haven't already, hop on to the Twitch chat or something, okay? Because we are live monitoring your chat now. There's about a 15-second delay. But be sure to drop into the chat room, say hello, let us know you're there, and we can do a bit of dialogue because...
Stops Ben getting lonely because he just sits there monitoring the chat all the time.
That's basically me, yeah.
So the hobby weekend... The hobby weekend is not just about the people that are here doing their stuff. The hobby weekend is a massive opportunity for us as a community to all get stuck in. On the run up to this hobby weekend, we sold digital tickets. So a digital ticket got you some goodies and some stuff you could take some photographs on. Remember, the digital ticket holders are in with a chance of winning a 3D printed full size chainsword kit, which is very cool. Every time somebody comes into this studio, it's all Justin ever talks to them about now.
It's the first thing they get.
Did you see my chainsword? And his chainsword has a really sticky handle.
Very, very sticky. We're led to believe that it's something to the varnish.
Yes.
That's what they tell us.
Yeah, he says so. We don't believe him. But yeah, so we... even if you don't have a digital ticket, we'd love for you to get involved. If you fancy over the next couple of days just doing some 40k stuff, all you have to do is head to www.beastsofwar.com/project. And that will take you into the project system where you can build a project. The project system is great because it's a way for you to keep track of what you're doing. I know I use it to keep my recipes and things like that. So if I'm doing bits and pieces of basing and stuff and I ever have to go back and do it again, I can go back into my projects and remind myself how I did it. So
Yeah,
it's like a personal
handy.
recipe book. But it's a way for you to interact with our community, and you can basically get feedback from the community. They can enjoy the projects that you're working on. So currently, we have some projects. So if you're creating a project that's dedicated to this weekend, and you don't have to be a digital ticket holder to do a project, we want to see your stuff. But if you do, well, whenever you're creating the project, there's a little drop down, and you can select the 40k hobby weekend from that drop down.
A few in there already.
Yeah. So Ben, have you picked out any highlights for us, dude?
Yeah, sure. So I've picked out 4 for us to have a look at right now. Although there's about 9 or 10 in there at the moment where people are starting to show off all the stuff they've been building, starting off with their sets and all that kind of thing. There's been some pretty cool stuff. Shared some on Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of thing as well, which is pretty awesome. But we're starting off with Laughing Boy and his son James, who are also running a live stream with us on the homepage, which you can go and check out. So if you're tired of listening to us talk for a while, you can go and see what they're doing and building up their armies as well.
Yeah,
reasonable. Yeah.
Yes.
But Laughing Boy has been kicking off with a demon army, so he's sort of following in your footsteps there a bit, Warren.
Yep.
And he's working on some awesome corn stuff. But his son James, who won a golden button last week for his Tyranid army,
Well done, James.
is building up a Tau force as well. And from watching the live streams already throughout the sort of early part of the afternoon and into the evening, it seems that James has already started getting some colour down into his models, whereas Laughing Boy is sitting there trying to put together one Slaneshi chariot. So there's a lot of spikes involved, a lot of glue, and a lot of swearing maybe as well. But
196 parts in that, I think.
something like that, yeah.
Because I know Gaz looked at it and went, I'm not building that. There's too many parts in that. And that says something when Gaz takes a back step.
This is the Slaneshi chariot, is it?
the Slaneshi one, yeah.
Has Laughing Boy went in for the corn demons as well, like myself?
Yeah, he's done a mix of corn and Slanesh, although he's got a whole bunch of other stuff that he's been working on as inspiration for this project that he's going to be doing over the weekend in that project as well there. So as you scroll down, you should be able to see some of the plastic models that they've been working on.
Look at that bloodthirster! It's beautiful!
And then, of course, there's the big badass bloodthirster there, as you can see, that's been painted up really, really nicely. It was all done in an evening's work, I believe, with some contrast paints, which sounds pretty cool as well. So it just shows off the kind of stuff you can do with those paints now, getting armies to the table very, very quickly. I know a lot of the people at the hobby weekend over in the studio are going to be using those kind of things as well to build up their armies and hopefully get them ready for some gaming later on the weekend as well, which would be pretty cool. But as you sort of go down through the project, you'll see some more of the stuff he's been doing. So you can see that he's been setting up his live stream. And one of the big things he's going to be doing at some point over the weekend is actually playing a little bit of a battle as well. So he's got a big table set up in his little hobby shed, which is pretty awesome, where he's going to be seeing the forces of the Necrons that he painted up previously going up against James's Tyranids that we were talking about earlier, which is pretty cool because it's a hobby weekend. You can do what you want with it. You can paint, you can build, you can play some games, whatever you want to do. If it's 40k related, we want to hear about it. So yeah, very cool stuff happening there from Laughing Boy, and I can't wait to see how those demons turn out. So
yeah, fantastic. The hobby weekend really is a very chillaxed affair. You know, it's unlike a boot camp where we have a very fixed timetable that attendees have to meet. The hobby weekend is really about, number one, just enjoying yourself. You know, do what it is you want to do. So we've got a great big gaming table out there. You've probably already seen by now. But there's no obligation on any of the attendees to play on that. You know, it's the only requirement is that whenever they leave here, that they've learned something, or taught something, or enjoyed something. Yeah, and hopefully all three. So in the chat, I want to say a big hi to Templar007. Templar, let us know. I know you're going to be joining us on a Skype call to go over your project, but the other thing we are doing, and Laughing Boy is availing of it, so is Alessia over in Australia. If you fancy doing a bit of live Twitch streaming, reach out to Ben and let us know what your Twitch channel is, and we'll get it embedded on the homepage. We would love, and again, you do not need to be a digital ticket holder to do a bit of streaming with us this weekend. You know, if you want to sit back at some point over a few hours and stream some 40k, we want to get you on our homepage because it's a big collective community celebration of this particular hobby this weekend. Dutch Limburger's in, giving us a greetings. So is SOS Legio Primus. Andrew, AJ, welcome AJ. AJ's going to be joining us tomorrow. We're going to talk about some lore, but he's saying that the Slaneshi chariot is a pain to put together. Yeah, go ahead there, Ben.
I was just going to say, when we're talking about the idea of tips, one of the things that I'd be interested in when it comes to painting those demons that Laughing Boy's working on is doing something that I kind of worked on, maybe it was last year now, when I was painting up some of those exact starter sets that you see there, so the Corman and Slaneshi one, I went with the idea of doing them as all undercoated in white and then building it up with washes. Now, obviously, that takes a little bit longer than working with the contrast paints nowadays and things like that. But it'd be good to see if anyone's done anything similar to that before, because I've built up a series of washes and then did some dry brushing over the top as well. So if anyone's done that kind of technique, wants to show off those kind of armies as well, that could be pretty cool to see. But yeah, just a little technique that I wanted to throw out there into the world as well, where everyone's listening.
Yeah, it's been fascinating so far. I've done my first little mini conversions. Howdy to Gent99. Welcome to the stream. I did my first little mini conversions today.
Yep.
Okay. So basically, I had 3 blood crushers.
Yes.
They are blood crushers, aren't they?
Yeah, blood crushers on juggernauts of corn.
Yes, juggernauts of corn. Metal dog beasties. So I have 3 of them in that box. They normally come in a unit of 5. Okay. I didn't want to build them with the horn because I wanted them to have swords. Okay. But apparently these demon dudes, if they have a standard or a horn, they get to do amazing stuff. Okay. So Thomas Menes helped me get a standard. Okay, and actually basically strap it. So we used a drill and drilled into the standard base and then into the model, and then put a little bit of wire in, and actually fitted it to the back of the metal dog beastie thing. What did he call them? A juggernaut. Yep. So, and then the other thing I did was then I strapped the horn to the side. So that way I should hopefully still get the benefit of the
Still
benefit.
WYSIWYG,
Yeah,
right?
it's still WYSIWYG, but my 3 beasties are there with their swords out, as they flipping should be, rather than tooting on a horn.
All I can think of is a mod Juggernaut. Just a Juggernaut, and then loads of green stuffed balls with little trumpets. You know the way they have like 5 or 6. Just like that, like a mod.
Yeah.
Loads of wing mirrors.
What I don't understand, right? And maybe you guys in the comments can help me with this, right? I understand in the old Warhammer Fantasy, you had the standard and the musician and stuff like that there. But why on earth would you bother taking that across to 40k? A horn blower and a standard bear. Oh, come on!
Because the rules were based on fantasy.
Oh.
And so they just transported it straight across. Rogue Trader was just a straight port. So you used to be able to you got squat musicians who had keyboards and stuff.
Oh, no!
Everybody had musicians and standards back in the day.
Yeah.
And then they just went along the line and slowly phased them out, except for the stuff that could be used for both systems, like demons.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I suppose they did. Yeah, they right. So I tackled this army primarily because of Iron Maiden Number the Beast, but there was another reason. It is one of the very few dual purpose armies in the whole realm of Games Workshop's hobby. So I suppose fair play to them. I was going to say, I don't mind some bits on the sprue that I don't use.
Yeah,
but
but
if you want to use it in Age of Sigmar, you maybe want to build it with the standard.
They're always optional anyway.
So
you didn't have to put them on.
Oh, it did, yeah, because Commander Alpha Strike wouldn't let me claim the benefit of them. Justin is turning into just a monster. Can you believe that Justin even managed to Alpha Strike the painting part of this hobby weekend by having it all built and ready?
Built and primed.
I know.
Before people arrived in the door.
What a get. What an absolute get. Jerry, I know you've been torturing him.
Yeah.
Keep it up, my man. Just keep it up.
That's my goal in life. Everybody's got to have a hobby. His is alpha striking people off the board, and mine is making sure he doesn't get his painting done.
Okay, next project. What else is going on in there, Ben, that we're going to have a quick look at?
So the next one is from a user called, I'm going to scroll up, called Hairy Brains, and this is for Guards. Somewhere I can hear Sam screaming because this is the title of the Terry Pratchett book, but he's been working on some Imperial Guard, the Astra Militarum, as you can see there, as they're now called in the world. So Justin will be very happy to see this one coming to life, I've no doubt. But he's been doing a little bit of sort of prepping and priming and all that kind of thing, working on the different tanks, working out exactly how he's going to build them and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. One of the other things he's done, and a few other projects have done something very similar as well, is actually working on a little bit of a test scheme on some of the older miniatures
look at it. It's lovely.
Yeah, so we're seeing some tanks that have got a little bit of an interesting scheme to them. We've got a little bit of camo going on, a little bit of weathering and that kind of thing too, which is very, very cool. It's been really interesting seeing how these have all been building up. And of course, the Imperial Guard are a fascinating force to actually try and work together and build up. And I believe you can see further down there as well, he's actually got more than just the Getting Started set to get stuck into as well. There's a lot more Imperial Guardsmen on the way. So there's
holy smokes!
Yeah, so there's
oh my word!
This is quite a kickstart into the hobby, I think, for Hairy Brains there. But yeah, just really cool to see people taking those early schemes and those test schemes that people have been working on. I believe we had Justin talking a little bit about one that he'd done for a Sentinel earlier in the live stream today. But yeah, very, very cool stuff, and it sort of all leads into hopefully some interesting looking armies later on. A little bit of conversion work as well in there as well, because you can see some of the helmets are a bit different than the ones you might normally have noticed on Imperial Guardsmen. So,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So he's rocking some World War II Tommy.
Exactly.
Tommy helmets. Yeah.
I'm a fan of that. I like
I've got to say, the Lehman Russ is probably one of my favorite little tank models ever. I think that there's nothing cooler than seeing a whole bunch of Lehman Russ on the table. In fact, at Warhammer World, they have a wonderful, wonderful display. Whereas, like, Lehman Russ on parade, it's like an Imperial Guard army. They're on parade in this kind of marching through this city, and all the Lehman Russ are all stacked up. I think The turrets are all kind of pointed to the left.
All right, like
Yes.
like they get barrels raised, giving a salute.
Yeah,
type of thing.
barrels raised, giving a salute. You know, it's just such a lovely model.
It's a model that's survived for 25 years,
Yeah.
something like that. And the only change they've made in that time is the tracks. There used to be a section of road wheels that ran all the way inside the two halves of the hull. In
That's
fact-
right. I remember building it.
Yeah.
and effing and blinding.
Yeah, in fact, if we go back up, that's the only change they've made, is they've removed those wheels, so you don't have to align the wheels and then align the tracks to the wheels.
Yeah.
They've just given little indents where the tracks go in. But apart from that, that kit hasn't really changed in
And can I just say,
2.5 decades, and doesn't need to. It looks the part.
it was a pity that they removed the wheels.
Yeah.
Because what it allowed you to do back in the old kit was actually break in through the armor, and you could see the internal mechanisms and stuff like that. It was a nice thing. So although they're quicker to build, they're a little bit less flexible when it comes to it. Did I tell you that at the weekend I was in a T-55?
No. But I did know there was one lurking around the north coast because John was making little high-pitched whining noises.
Oh,
like
yes.
a puppy.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
you
like-
should.
it's like,
John,
He's going, what's
So,
John doing? There must be a tank.
This past weekend, I took 3 of my little ones to the military show that John's people put on. John's dad and all like that.
Yeah.
They are all military vehicle enthusiasts and stuff. So I took my 3 little ones. They had an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Loved it. I bought them each an X-issue army belt with all the pouches.
Oh, right, nice.
And I filled it full of their fruit shoots and stuff like that there. Andrea gave me a little bit of pocket money, you see. She says, now don't be spending that. Try and bring that home.
Oh, yeah.
Within about... I arrived, and seriously, 50 steps into it, there's a guy at the stall with these army belts, all in a big bucket. He said, clearance, £5 each, including the pouches.
Including the pouches.
And I thought, why? Straight in. And all my little ones are so small. So I was, because the fact that they're all Velcro,
Yeah,
I was
you
getting
can
them
adjust
all
it, yeah.
wrapped around. And, it was great. It was absolutely great. But they had a T-55 there. So some interesting stuff about a T-55. Number one, it gave me an absolute arousal for tanks. So myself and John are probably going to be doing a tanks weekend sometime very, very soon. Just an online thing. I'm thinking about the game. I might even pull out the tanks from Gale Force 9.
Yes.
Because I just want to play tanks. I'll tell you who else put me in the mood for it. You will never guess who's been in the member suite playing tanks.
I won't guess, you're right.
Not only Daryl.
Oh, yes.
I shit you not, Daryl has been in here in the member suite playing tanks.
Married or unmarried tank crew, then.
Oh, so it's put me in the mood for tanks. So we might have a look at that in the next weekend or so. But
Yeah.
anyway, this is a big beast of a tank.
Yeah.
Right. And I was knocking on the turret.
Yeah.
And I lifted my kiddies up and got them to knock it, and it was hilarious because they all thought it was made of stone. It just,
Yeah,
it was
it's
just,
that thick, that
thought it was
heavy,
metal,
and
I was
yeah.
explaining, no, it's metal. But the thing is that the other metal paneling that you would stand on is just like sheet metal, and then suddenly you come to this cast
Yeah.
metal, and it just felt like stone. And that was grand. They fired up the tank at one point, and they were moving it back and forth, and I was like, oh! John, meanwhile, was on the floor going, oh! he was totally out of it. So that was fine. They parked up the tank. John had been carried off to the recovery tent where they were going
Needed
to
it.
pump oil back into his veins again because he'd expunged it everywhere. And I walked up to the guy that owned the tank because he was standing on top of it talking to another dude. And I said, "Excuse me, mate." And he didn't hear me. And then I realized I'm talking too timidly to a man who drives a tank. I need to use tank commander kind of things. Now, you might not know this, okay, but in noisy war vehicles, it's not about shouting, it's about increasing your pitch.
Right.
Okay? So you don't go, "Excuse me!" You actually go, "Excuse me!" And he looked down, and he must have thought that he was going to see some fine young thing, because the shock on his face when he saw me. I went, sorry, dude, but I have always wanted to peer inside one of these. Would you mind if I entered your turret? And he turned to me and he said, big fella, you enter away. Come on up here. If you can get up. And this is literally what he said. If you can get up, you're very welcome to. Now, I took that as a challenge. So it was right. You three, sit down at that post. Don't move. Daddy's going to climb on the tank. So I climbed up onto the tank. And it was amazing. I looked down into it. Now, I thought it was going to be pretty tight in there. I had no idea it was going to be this tight in here. So you have... Right, all of the seats have names. There's a gunner, there's a commander, there's a...
Driver and a loader.
A driver and a loader, right? But I will talk to you about them as dudes, because I can't remember which one actually sat where. But there was a dude here who had to sit with his legs spread apart.
Nice.
So another dude could sit there and rest his head lovingly on his pillows.
Nice. Good.
The loader, and even just to get in, he had to remove the rackings the shells go on, just to get a Northern Irish frame into where the loader was. I thought I knew it was tight. I never realized it was going to be that tight. Have any of you guys ever been in a tank? Some of you guys have probably actually drove tanks in the heat of battle and for real, but holy smokes, are they all like that? Are they all as tight as that?
Yeah, they're not big on luxury, because any extra room you give them is extra armor and extra weight.
But they're not even...
So everything has to be as compact. That's commanders used to have stirrups, so they could have their feet up on stirrups when they were in the turret.
Imagine the back pain when you're trying to deal with that. The whole thing about the tank is like they're not even cozy. I can imagine the whole it's cozy, but it's not even cozy.
No,
it is like seriously cramped. So anyway, yeah, thank you for that. You've put me in the mood for tanks. Ben, another one, dude.
Yeah, so the next one we're going to be looking at is, again, Imperial flavoured, and this is from Dark Dangan, who's been building up a Militarum Tempestus force that he's been putting together for the weekend. So he's got obviously...
He's got a flag!
Of course he has the flags, yes, because it wouldn't be the Imperium without flags everywhere, so yeah.
Oh, but this is not... This is not a flag.
It's a flag.
This is a flag. This must be Ulster Imperium.
It's funny. We've seen some of them already this weekend.
But yeah, so as well as actually painting up and sort of priming a lot of the models and getting them ready to go, which is pretty cool, he's also started working on something of a kill team list. Because obviously that getting started set is pretty good for sort of like some low-level games, maybe a 40k if you wanted to play it with another friend, because it's got all the rules and stuff in the back for you to use those particular units. But it would also be pretty good, damn good, for a kill team, because you've got some really nice characters in there and stuff like that, which is pretty awesome. So he's also been doing some kill team stuff there, which is pretty awesome. So nice to see how that comes together. When then he adds like the character name to the bases or something, that could be kind of cool. And as well as that, you can see some of the other stuff he's been doing, building up the little area that he's going to be
sporting the shirt. Sporting the shirt, dude. You make that shirt look good. I make mine look a bit like a marshmallow, but it's it's comfy.
Good.
I'm enjoying it.
Covers.
I like it. Yeah,
just about covers me. I
nice.
feel more pregnant every time I want.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm really liking the look of what he's been doing with the Militarum Tempestus. He's got some stuff further down where he shows us the inspiration for what he's working on.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a lot of black with like red trim to it. So it'll look very, very evil, very very imperial, which is pretty cool. A little bit of that kind of like Death Trooper, Stormtrooper vibe to them, which is kind of awesome as well. But yeah, really cool stuff. And there's some interesting vehicles. People have multiple impressions of how a Tolrox is and how it should be and all that kind of thing, but they're also very cool vehicles as well, also claimed by the Gene Stealers in many regards too. But some awesome stuff there for the not the Astra Militarum, the Militarum Tempestus.
I love the Tempestus.
Flavor of Imperial Guard. So yeah.
I've got to the stage where you can't complain about the Tempestus. If you're going to do something different, do something different. I think the Tower Ox is awesome. I just think it's really, really cool. Click on it there.
It's the weird independent.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Oh, it's tiny.
Well,
so
if
tiny.
it had been a big Tower Ox.
Yeah. It's the weird independent tracks
Yeah.
And I was talking because one of the guys at the top end of the table is building one, but he's ordered a aftermarket resin kit to remove those tracks and replace them with proper wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we were discussing how terrible it looks and how nobody likes it with the tracks.
I like it.
Which is, you are the exception that proves.
I will be the exception on this one. I actually do like it.
But the rest of the world hates it and thinks it looks ridiculous. And then we discovered a couple of months ago, I was watching a documentary about something Soviet.
Uh-huh.
And that is a vehicle that the Soviets have. It has 4 independent tracks in place of wheels. It's not just that GW went mental.
I bet you loved it.
No, it still looked ridiculous. But at least I could go, oh, well, that makes sense. Because everybody else, whenever we seen it, we all went, why have they not just gone for 2 tracks like any other?
Oh, you mean
vehicle?
and do like a half track kind of a thing?
No, just go 2 full track. Why have they got 2 small tracks on each side when surely 1 big track?
Well, actually, you're asking the question, but out of all of us, you're probably best positioned to answer it. Why did the Russians, or was it Russians or the Soviets? Was it pre?
No, that I don't know. I think it may have been at the end of the Soviet era, so it might have been Soviet into Russia.
Right.
Because a lot of their stuff is kicking around.
In the documentary, did they explain why they built it?
Not that I caught. No, from what I could see when it was driving around, it was because when you hit the Arctic and the tundra and you've got the sort of the boulder fields and that sort of thing, having independent tracks means that the front one can rise if you're at a boulder while the back one's still level. Whereas if you have a track, it's very good for crossing trenches and that sort of thing where you're going more or less flat and you don't want to just drop in. But if you're trying to cross multitudes of obstacles that are sort of scattered, having the essentially like 4 independent suspensions made life easier for them. But it was weird to see. But yeah, so Games Workshop apparently not as mental as we all thought. They did have somewhere.
Yeah,
they'd seen it.
Into the chat, there may be something wrong with my mic. It's probably just me talking into it, mate. Diavolo PL says, people are strange. All vehicles in 40k make no sense. But Taros, we need wheels. Why is it different? I can answer that. That's not exactly true. Not all vehicles in 40k make no sense. In fact, there is a vehicle that makes absolutely perfect sense.
Wave Serpents.
40k. No. Wave Serpents wasn't going to be top of my list, actually. I was going to say that the vehicle that makes absolutely perfect sense to me in 40k is the Land Speeder.
Yeah.
My favorite vehicle in 40k is the Space Marine bike, mainly because I read a little bit of fluff on them back in an old codex, or because I was like, I wonder how they actually use these in battle. Because isn't it just easier for a Space Marine just to hit somebody with a chainsaw to shoot them with a bolter, right? But they actually use their bikes as like battering rams, and they drive them into the enemy and just run them over like cavalry would have done back in the old days, and then turn around and come right back again and do exactly the same thing, firing their bolters from the front. So they are absolutely insane metal vehicles, effectively.
I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take it back. Can I have a take-it-backy? Go on, give me a take-it-backy. Actually, now that I come to think of it, the vehicle in 40k that makes the absolute most sense is the drop pod. When you think about it,
when you're having to drop people from the sky, you want some of them to survive.
And you don't care if they come back, because it doesn't lift off again.
No,
it's an absolutely perfect thing.
It's a one-way trip. I like the Chimera, and there's a very good reason for liking the Chimera.
I'm checking for loose cables here, but hopefully, if you're still having problems with my audio, let me know.
The Chimera is the only amphibious vehicle in 40k. So only Imperial Guard can cross rivers.
David White says he's another person that loves the Torox. Okay, fist bump. There's now 2 of us, Jerry.
You're not right.
The loyalty club of Torox has now doubled. By the time this stream's over, man,
there'll be as many as 3.
I'm going to have a handful of us. Enough to start a petition to say that we want them to do the same to the Land Raider.
I was going to say, remember in this era where all the Primaris are getting tanks that don't have any tracks on them, maybe we should be thankful the Torex does have tracks.
Do you know what? This was exactly the point I was going to make. What would you rather have them continue with tracks like the Taurus? I would take 1,000,000 Tauroxes over this grav crap that the Primaris are coming in with. Mandy Pie has a really interesting one. Firstly, there's something we have to remember. The Russians were Soviets, but not all Soviets were Russian. And that's absolutely right. I'm just talking about the military, and I'm just talking about eras rather than folks. The Lehman Russ turret is odd. If the commander were to sit outside of the hatch, the recoil of the main gun would most likely crush his crotch. Yes, but only the commanders in the know ever did that.
That's what bionics are for.
Toros says hello. Hello, Toros. Peter Fulford says, hey, we wacko Americans developed the Snowcat,
Right.
which had 4 tracks, mainly for the Arctic, but has other uses. I can see in winter, in the likes of snow, having 4 independent drives is 4-wheel drive.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a benefit to 4-wheel drive.
But tracks don't generally require drive on the grounds that if you've got a tank, it doesn't matter if things start slipping because, it just digs in and goes. And also you've got the weight dispersal. Whereas if you've got 4 small tracks instead of 2 big tracks, it's you're very sinking into the snow type of thing. That's why I looked at the Torox and went, why have they decided that 4 is better than just 2?
Big news. Big news. Torox fan club's up to 3.
3.
Well done. Yep, Diablo loves the Torox. There you go. The Taurus always liked the M1113, the Rhino. Yes. I'm actually a fan of that as well.
Not amphibious, though. All the Space Marines drown when they cross the lake.
Do they?
Yes. Unlucky.
Is the M113 amphibious?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, but my Chimera's still amphibious.
Yeah?
Go, guard, go.
Any more projects, Ben?
Yes.
So the last one we're going to be looking at is from another person who's going to be streaming over the weekend and then joining us later on as well for a little bit of an interview too. And this is from LSR 2590.
This is my love from down under here, this dude.
And this guy has been joining us to do a little bit of painting, and he's already done a little bit of a test stream as well. I think it was yesterday, where he's been putting together some awesome Nurgle characters, as you can see here, and adding those first little bits of base color down onto the models there. So you've got that.
Alessiar, 2 big shout outs to him. Firstly, he was the guy that helped me create the Zeppelin. And secondly, he did a test stream last night, so his second claim to fame is he actually had the legendary Oriskany watching his test stream. So, Jim, we are sending you soap in the post so as you can wash the dirt of the 40k off you, my historical friend. He's probably woke up feeling really dirty this morning.
Time for a Brillo pad shower.
This stuff is looking great.
Yeah, so it's been really good to see those base colours getting down there. As I say, that sort of typical Death Guard style green that you see there, which is very cool. This actually brings me towards something that I was quite interested in sort of throwing out there to the community and seeing whether or not it's just heinous to even consider it. But on Forge World this weekend, they're putting up a whole bunch of pre-orders for some new Dark Angel Legion stuff. So this is in their classic armour, which is, black with the red trim to it rather than the green that we're normally used to seeing. Mm-hmm. The thing I was going to say, right, is would it be heretical to bring that paint scheme back and start putting on some Primaris Marines and being like, hey, you know what? Azrael don't give no damn. He's here to make all the Dark Angels come back and be like, hey, it doesn't matter that we may have had traitors in our midst. It might actually be fallen and terrible and all chaos, heretics and that kind of thing. We want to show off our awesome black and be back in action.
Back in black.
Is that doable? Should that be done? Would that be heinous? I don't know.
Why not? Well, obviously if the Primaris weren't already chaos, which they are, we know this.
All done by Fabius Bile.
At that point, you could go, well, yeah, if they were loyalists and not chaos, which they are, you could say that the Primaris could be in the original outfits because that differentiates them from the filthy fallen Dark Angels who are running about the place in robes and green.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, because I saw the new Primaris versions of Tigurius and
Tigger.
And the new White Scars leader, whose name I've forgotten, which is annoying.
Jakata Khan.
I think it's that maybe him. Yeah, that must be him. And it would be really awesome to see a new version of Azrael in kind of like Primaris with his big badass sword and his little tiny guy next to him with the helmet and stuff. That could be pretty awesome.
All these guys been prized out of their armor and poured into Primaris armor?
They've gone through
two more than have, yeah.
They've gone through I want to say it's like I'm going to phrase it badly. It's like they've gone on a retreat and come back as new and improved people.
Except the pod people.
Yeah.
What have the pod people done with the original Tigers?
We are now entering the true difficult transition where basically
They should just come out and say it. We all know they're doing it.
Yeah.
They should just come out and go, we're getting rid of your old Marines.
yeah.
Unlucky. If you don't like it, keep playing with your old Marines, but they'll be smaller.
It makes me wonder now whether they'd have been best just doing that at the first
From the start?
From the start,
Yeah.
at the first introduction, and just said, "Look, they're all Space Marines, and this is the new mark of armor or something."
Yeah,
the new
it's just the
look.
new sculpt.
Yeah, but all of this,
They've never tried.
I understood that they were trying their best to trying to bring the community with them. There's no easy way of doing it, right? But perhaps now, on reflection, looking back, maybe they would have been better just coming out and
Don't know
saying,
if
"Look,
they-
dudes, we've
yeah.
got a better design. It's time to freshen the whole thing up."
I don't know if they were doing it or to bring the community with them, or just doing it for the sake of any other time they replace something. So anytime they replaced goblins, elves, Eldar, whatever it happened to be, they would just replace them. That'd be it. Here's the new kit. New kit looks better. And this time around, they went, "Here's the new kit, but it's also got new rules."
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I was talking about this in the comments of when we put out the news about all the new Primaris stuff that's coming our way, because you've got all the new stealthy stuff and that kind of thing.
Oh, stop!
And the new war
Everybody,
clan
stop! Important news breaking.
Hammer time.
The Torox fan club is up to 4. 4 of us now, guys. Do you know what that means? That means now we greatly outnumber you.
Only in this room, and in the rest of the chat, I'm sure you don't either.
Okay, we don't want to know if you don't like the Torox. Just
We do.
continue to post if you do, okay?
When we get enough of you, we'll be able to get you a nice yellow bus to put you on and take you on trips to the seaside together.
Yeah, it's Toros had a lovely chat with Alessio this morning.
Yep.
Or LSR, sorry, this morning. I'm sorry I missed it, but I was so shattered by the time we got out last night. Yeah, so on the topic of the Primaris, give me a show of hands. Knowing now, and it's always better with the benefit of hindsight, but knowing now, had you been in charge, would you have just done the simple thing and said, right, new look Space Marines, boys, have at it?
I would have just done that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the problem is you wouldn't have had the sales uptake, and that's what they were after.
right.
As I was just saying before, I think the reason that they did it in the way they did is to try and add that kind of like fluff reasoning behind it, and because a whole big thing of it is that Age of Sigmar was going the direction where they were creating a narrative that would consistently go on and on and on and develop and change through all their campaigns and their new battle tomes and that kind of thing. So we're trying to do exactly the same with 40k, where they're trying to move things forward past that introduction of the new Space Marines and the way that the 40k world now looks and that kind of thing as well. So having that fluff justification behind the Primaris made them a little easier to sort of bring into the fore, as it were. But I think they just should have just done it the way, as you said, because one of the big things is like I was looking back over the past, the first Space Marines from Rogue Trader, little tiny squeezed up little guys, and then when they added the new plastic ones in and stuff like that, they were bigger, and then they got bigger and bigger and bigger. Same with Terminators, that kind of thing as well. Things change and things develop for the armies, and no one who's sensible is going to tell you that you can't play with your old Space Marines.
Yeah.
So just do as you want.
It does make me wonder whether the whole Primaris storyline has actually done a bit of a disservice to the narrative of 40k. Was it a distraction that they just didn't need? Was there a more interesting story to tell that they would have had time to tell and could have told in a more clear fashion
Without
the whole return of Gulliman with the Primaris?
many new big ones. There's plenty of stories they've started over the years that have just hung in midair and haven't been finished and probably will never be finished because they've gone off in this tangent. It'll be interesting to see when they release Orcs, because I was talking to Paul when we were coming down the road this morning, and Orcs is now a 25-year-old kit.
Yeah,
Definitely needs to be updated.
and they are smaller than Primaris now. So when
they're smaller than the original,
the
last edition of Marines.
So when they finally do get around to doing Orc Boys, are they just going to go, here are the new Orc Boys?
Yeah.
Or will they go, here's some Orc Boys who've been fighting High Fleet Behemoth and have come out of the Orky zone that have been grown by the old ones and therefore are 5 times the size with new improved stat lines?
I think they'll just do what they did with how they moved on orcs when it came to Age of Sigmar. They'll just say, "These are the new orcs. These are the big
I
badasses
hope
that
so.
you know." So yeah.
I really hope so, because it's a really interesting scenario, because I love the Primaris design. I think Primaris armor is fantastic. Right? I think when Jez Goodwin was sat down and told, you're going to reimagine the Space Marine for us, bring it bang up to date, make it the most desirable thing you can. I think he utterly nailed it. I think it looks amazing. I think they're beautifully proportioned. And I think it will be another 10 years before we see something that would make us want to jump again to a new look.
Iteration, yeah.
As I was going to say, as full-time Edgy says in the comments on Twitch, we need a Gazgul Orc Prime.
Yeah.
Yes, we definitely do. He needs to come back fighting, and then Commissar Yarrett needs to be like, "What? You're still alive?" And go chasing after
Fetch
him.
me my claw from under the stairs.
Yeah. So, it's... But as much as I love the model, I do think that the storyline is
It feels shoehorned in. Yeah,
it's very contrived. So, well, that's where we're at. Right, 40K Hobby Weekend. Yeah. It's only getting started. Whatever you are doing. Okay, if you want to spend some time with us and just 40K it out, in the evening times here, we're going to be doing live streaming. When we're not here dialoguing with you, you can talk to one another, and that slow panning camera over the whole hobby hole and the member suite is running, so you can be here with us doing what you're doing wherever you may be.
A big thing I want to push forward just for you guys now is to remember that if you are doing anything to do with the 40K Hobby Weekend, if you're putting anything 40K, go over onto the site, go to the projects, start your project. In the drop-down menu of a contest, you'll see something that says 40K Hobby Weekend. Put your pictures in there, show off what you're doing, be it building stuff, painting things, playing games or whatever, and I'll be looking through those and bringing them up onto social media and into these chats that we have here as well. And of course, you need to hashtag 40K Hobby Weekend on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll grab your pictures from there as well, because we want to see what you're doing.
Absolutely. And finally, if you've ever done it, a bit of Twitch streaming, or you've ever fancied having a go at a bit of Twitch streaming, go ahead and reach out to Ben. Let us know the name of your Twitch channel, and we'll try and get some more Twitch channels embedded onto the site over the course of the weekend, where we can all kind of tune in and see what you're up to. Right, we are going to wrap up now. We're going to head back into the members suite, and we will be back probably at 7 p.m. So somebody's going to be doing something in about 10 minutes' time. So enjoy.
Yep.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to the 40k Hobby Weekend, and I'm joined by Mr. Menez, Thomas, and we're going to be talking about conversion clinic corner type of thing.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Absolutely. Basically, what I want to do is just give people ideas. It's the most dangerous thing, putting ideas in people's heads, and
Right.
I love doing it.
They'll brainworm in there and see what it chews out.
Oh yes, and most of all, put a brain worm in there and let people follow that, because it's all too easy to say like, yeah, I can't do that. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, or whatever is on the box or something like
I'm
that.
with
But
you, yeah.
it's much more fun if you start hacking away and slashing away at the model and doing different stuff with
Thinking
it. So-
outside the box is key, and it gives you a really unique force that
Yep.
you know nobody else has got that force.
Absolutely, yeah. I always think that you pay good money for this.
Yeah.
It isn't the cheapest hobby, let's be honest in this. So when you pay good money for a nice model, you want to get everything out of that.
Yeah.
And what I don't understand is people saying like, yeah, it looks okay. If it looks okay, you're doing it wrong. It should look brilliant. It should look fantastic. It should be everything you ever wanted it to be, because, yeah, that's the way to do it, I think.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
You know, and it can be something as simple as a paint scheme sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you can start doing, well, some of the things you've done here.
Yeah, yeah.
So where do you want to start?
Well, where I want to start, conversions that aren't conversions.
That's a great place to start.
That's a great place to start.
Very zen. I like it.
No, it's actually, it started really simple. If you take the standard kits for 40k, the good thing is they're all posable, and you can do all kinds of different things with them. But you should do it the right way. If you just glue on 2 arms and that's it, you're doing it the wrong way. With just the arms that are on there and the heads that are on there, you can make really cool poses. You can really pose the miniatures to make them do cool things. For example, the difference between having a guy holding a las gun and looking at something that he's about to shoot is something completely different than him holding a las gun and looking to his rear, for example. And just by posing your head in a different way, or by posing your las gun in a different way, you can do a lot of things. I got one of the examples that I stole from one of the guys here in the hall to show you. That's this guy. There's this little orc here. And it's just a standard orc, but he positioned the gun in such a way that he is holding it above his head. And all of a sudden, it's a completely different miniature, because he is yelling at at his opponents, and he's just, gonna do crazy shit, firing in the air or something like that.
Screaming like somebody in an Iraqi wedding. Just fire willy-nilly into the air. And let's face it, in most cases, orcs don't actually carry shooters to shoot things with. It's all about the DACA. It's all about the noise. It's more fun when they hear the noise.
Absolutely. And let's be honest, he will hit as much like that as he will if he actually points it at something else. So, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's one way
So
of doing it.
that's the first thing. Position them well, pick the right pieces, and make something fun out of it.
Yeah.
Second way is swaps. It's also pretty easy. You swap a head, you swap a turret, you swap a weapons, bodies, whatever. I also nicked some other models. I think these are great. It's just standard guardsmen.
Yeah.
And he put different heads on them that he got from another source somewhere.
I think these are anvil.
Yeah, could be. And they look great. They're so different all of a sudden. There's a different story to them all of a sudden.
Yeah, change the heads, change the skin tone, and they're no longer just Cadians. They're whatever specific guard unit you want to. It's even added backpacks to some of them as well.
Yeah, so I think just small things like that. You don't have to cut your models. You don't have to do anything difficult with them, but they completely change the narrative of your miniatures, and I really like that, doing something like that, telling a story. But we'll get back to telling the stories later on, probably. Third thing, if you want to go a bit further, that's repositioning your models. Repositioning your models goes a bit further than just putting the hands on in a different way. That's really saying like, I want this pose.
Yeah.
And you do everything you want to get that pose. Let's see if I got, for example, it's not a 40k model, but I hope you can live with that.
So this is War Machines.
Yeah, that's War Machine.
I want to say Zarina or
Zarkova.
Zarkova. I was
Almost
so,
there.
I was so close. I don't even know much about War Machine, but I was getting there.
Yeah. The model, I didn't do all that much to the model. I did something to the cape.
Yeah.
But by positioning her in a different way, she gets a different narrative. She's jumping down from that column that she
Yeah.
was standing on, for example. The extreme version of it is what I did here.
With this.
Yeah. So the other warjack is just part of the base, because what you want to show is the warjack hitting him and jumping on him. To do something like that, you have to start cutting, you have to start pitting stuff, you have
Yeah.
to start repositioning it. It's not that hard.
No.
There's three important things to remember.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is act it out.
Yeah.
Always when you do something like you do when you do a positioning of anything, act it out.
Yeah.
It may look really strange, but if you got somebody, people move in a certain way, and
Yes.
your mind is wired to recognize it if that goes wrong.
Yeah.
If you move, if the model is put in a different way, you won't be able to put your finger on it. What is wrong with it? Somebody asked me today, like, what is wrong with this miniature? You won't be able to put your finger on it until you act it out.
Yeah.
And then you go, like, for example, if you put your right foot to the front, your left shoulder automatically comes to the front.
To counterbalance.
So if you, to counterbalance, and if you are making a model with his right foot forward and his right hand forward, it looks wonky.
Yeah.
It looks like he's falling
yeah,
or like he's off
unbalanced,
balance or
yeah.
something like that. So acting the pose out before you do it will immediately let you see, like, okay, this is what I'm missing, because your body will automatically correct.
It's funny, yeah. When I've been doing bits and bobs of conversion work myself, and I think there was a weekend where we were in here. I can't even remember what the weekend was, but every now and again I would get up and I would move, and they would see me doing that. I'm going, does that work? No, because I can feel the tension there, so the arm can't really go back further than there, so I can't do it like. But then if I turn my hand this, and it was working out what position I could actually comfortably make that would allow me to hold that position, and then I went and did that. But conversely, in the past, I've hyperextended some things. So especially if people are fans of anime or manga, that sort of thing, you can actually, having somebody running, and you go, okay, they'll be running, so arm goes forward, arm goes back, that's fine. And then, the bodies might be slightly twisted at the torso. But then if you just move everything just slightly further than it should be, or that you could physically do in real life, and all of a sudden that arm might come much further around, the back arm comes up and the elbow, and you just hyperextend all the positioning, and you get a really dynamic model that maybe you couldn't physically do yourself. If you're, well, certainly if you're me, you can't do it. Maybe somebody who does yoga would be capable of doing that. But just seeing the positions you can make easily yourself gives you one type of positioning, and then hyperextending them
but
gives you that real
get the
dynamic
right
position.
It was the next thing on the list, like hyperextended, like they do in comic books
Yeah.
and everything like that. I mean, if you read something like Spider-Man, nobody wants to see Spider-Man just standing around, standing there. They want to see him doing dynamic stuff, and this is a moment in time that you froze and exaggerate it. You can really exaggerate it and have him like really going for it and doing a high jump or anything like that. Another thing to remember there, do as little as possible. So try to use as much of the model that you can use. If you've got a leg positioned in a certain way, see if you can use that. That's an important one to use the model as much as it is, and then just by simply adding, changing the facing or changing the head or something like that,
changing
can
the glue
dramatically change the way a model looks.
Especially with this, you can see that here, the legs themselves are pretty much intact throughout the entire leg, knee, thigh, and it's only really at the ankle. But because of he's landing in the guy's face, death from above him. That gives you that idea that he's jumping, and like you say, you don't want to have to cut that model. You don't want to have to go in there and resculpt or replace every single little part just for it. It's just finding those key aspects where you're going, well, he's already in this position. Weirdly, we had a look at Artel miniatures, so it's an alternative striking Scorpion. He's a Shadowhunter Prime, and he comes with either a claw or an optional, so an open claw or a claw that's got a guardsman being picked up and choked, and the guardsman's kicking his heels. But we were looking at it going, well, if you just rotate that 45 degrees, have the guardsman's feet flat, and he's no longer being lifted in the air, he becomes the glue point, and the Scorpion is leaping and just pushing him to the ground. And it's just that, it's taking the Scorpion being pivoted and just doing that, and all of a sudden you've got a completely different look to the model.
Yeah, and then all you've got to do is change the feet from the Scorpion, probably so that they are hanging in the air and they're not flat on the ground.
Well, thankfully, because he's normally up on a plinth bit of rock, so both feet are actually extended as if he's on tiptoes. So once you remove him from the rock, he's already practically leaping. I think you might have to do a little with the front leg, but barely anything at all to get to very... And I mean, that goes from being a striking Scorpion Exarch or leader choking a guardsman to he could even potentially be a guardsman in a unit being tackled, or on a diorama being tackled. So it's just...
So exactly. So do as little as possible. It makes it a lot easier for yourself. And just have a look at it, have a good look at it. Like, what can I do with it by doing as little as possible? And the last thing that's important here is hide your mistakes. You can do so much by just adding a pouch somewhere, or if you got an ugly joint, for example, just put a pouch on there, just put like a bit of fur over it. Do something like that. Put a cloak over it, and then you don't have to green stuff anything. You just put a cloak over it from somewhere else, and
hide the joins.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's key.
Next thing, adding stuff.
Yes.
Adding stuff is always fun. It can be as simple as, let me see what I've got here. Well, some fur.
Yeah.
For example, that's one thing I did once to a War Machine model. A cloak. Cloaks are very effective. They're not the easiest thing to do to get completely right, but just adding a cloak or something like that.
And that's just fur trim around the edge of the cape.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you've got a different story, because this is a guy in winter.
Yeah, he's now give him a snow base and change up the painting on him, and
absolutely,
he's massively different. And this guy is rocking a lovely bearskin. Have you cut his head off, or did you green stuff onto that head?
I cut part of it off, I think, or I don't remember.
It looks. If I was a betting man, I would say he's missing part of his head to get that to sit there and have that sort of flat bit.
I don't know anymore. At my age, you don't remember anymore.
No, it all becomes a blur after a while.
I'm happy I still know that I did that. So
it's funny you say that, because in the chat there, Kaijin is saying that too bad that GW seem to be removing options with the newer models they bring out. And that does seem to be the case, where in the old days you would get a multi-part plastic kit and packs, pouches, combat knives, whatever it happened to be, and you would then have torsos and arms and build them, and they all build. It's the same, more or less the same model 5 times on a sprue. It's up to you how you build it differently. Now they're very keen on every figure being individual, but there's only one way to assemble that figure.
Oh, right,
And something like this are ways that you can go in there and you can start changing it up, so that if you buy a second squad, you don't have 10 of the same guys again. Because they may look fantastic the first time, but if you're building an army, you don't want 5 of that guy who's got a Gene Stealer head in his hand and 6 of that guy who's kneeling down. So getting in there and doing little things, changes, hiding them, green stuffing, that type of thing.
Change it from bit boxes from other armies, for example. I mean, let's be honest, Space Wolves, they are just Space Marines with claws and fur added to them.
Yeah.
That's what Space Wolves are, and with long hair.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, the Space
Dark
Vikings.
Angels, they are like normal Space Marines, but with tabards.
Yeah, they just
Or
like to rock the monkish look.
Yeah, so it's actually GW doing what you could be doing yourself. Add bits of whatever. If you want to have a feral Imperial Guards force, for example, why don't you just add bits from Seraphon kits? Like they've got all kinds of feathers and everything, and you can just add that to the models. And all of a sudden, they're different models. So there's plenty of options there. There's plenty of aftermarket options there. So you can just add anything, any kind of thing. Even if you go to vehicles, let me put this one. I don't know if it will fit into the.
Oh, if he won't fit, we'll wave him around.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So this is a Land Raider with bits of plastic art put on there. Orcs are great for that, of course, but you just add stuff.
That's an original Rhino hull. It's
Yeah.
one of the side doors, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
that's the orc truck from Gorka Morka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
so
is.
it really is just a hodgepodge of whatever, which is
Yeah.
what orcs would do. And orcs are, if you haven't tried converting before and you've got an orc army, really you're primed. You're in a prime location to do this, because it doesn't matter how ramshackle it looks. Orcs are great for that. They'll
that's the
stick
way
it
of
on wherever.
converting orcs. You're right. You just add glue,
And then
put in some,
shake.
put your stuff in the bits box, shake it around, and you put it out, and ta-da! You've got a converted miniature. It's the orcish way.
It really is.
So that kind of thing is always really cool to do. Some plastic arches, some extra bits to add on there. If I can put this under camera, if you want to.
Oh,
you
I
can,
see what he's doing. I'm trying to work out. There's a little Gretchen hanging off the side there, but he seems to be rappelling his way down the back of this gun,
Yeah.
up and over.
Yeah. Once again, stories. This one, for example, that's a bit goes a bit further.
Yes.
Because that's you take just a normal orc and you do the armor, like Tyranid armor.
Yeah.
You cut up a gene stealer, slice off the right parts of it, and you just glue it on. And it looks hard. It's actually not that hard to do.
Yeah, with just carapace running down the front.
Yeah.
That I think that's a spare.
It's gene stealer carapace.
Gene
the
stealer
front of a gene stealer, and the hands are on the shoulder pads are gene stealer hands as well. And the rest is from, I think, Hormagaunt.
Cormorant looks like, yeah.
Yeah. So things like that. It's the most important thing is your imagination.
Yeah.
Do something with it and tell a story with it. Yeah, you can set them on fire if you want to. You can do whatever you want with those models as long as they look cool. Something extra, battle damage, things like bullet holes, stuff like scratches on your vehicles. There's some on there as well.
there are plenty on there.
Yeah, a
where
bullet
they've been
hole.
hammered.
There's nothing as easy as a bullet hole. You just
Yeah.
take your pin vise and drill a couple of holes in
Yeah.
there.
Just drill them, and
Yeah.
then you can, if you want, go in with a scalpel blade and then just pull away
Yeah.
to get those
Yeah,
sort of
absolutely.
explosions or those scratches onto it.
Really effective.
Yeah.
Looks really cool. Make sure that they are on one line because that's the way a gun works.
Somebody
It's
sprays.
always
Yeah,
it always
tracks.
sprays. So if you just put a bullet hole here and there, it doesn't work
Yeah.
all of a sudden. But for example, the same with scratches. If you put one scratch on it, that's okay. That's nice. If you put 3 scratches next to each other,
They've
it's
been
a monster that
yeah.
has just been clawing through it.
Yeah, somebody's come up and it becomes, rather than maybe a chain fest or an axe attack of one stroke, then
Yeah.
when you have those 3 together, you're going, well, it's either lightning claws or it's a monster, and
Yeah,
and you can
exactly.
start doing it that way.
So that's when you start telling stories again. Blood and gore, always fun. I don't think it is done often enough in
No.
miniatures. I have got this one, like a Tsao guy who has been shot.
Yes, I was looking at this earlier actually, and this.
It's really easy to do that. So what you do there, you reposition the model so that he looks like he has been shot in the back. And then you drill 2 holes through it for the pins
Yep.
to put the brass rod in there.
Brass rods.
A couple more at the front to have the blood spatter, and you put a tiny bit of green stuff on there. It's really easy to do.
Yeah.
There's a tutorial on the sites. Hint, hint. And yeah, it's pretty easy to do, and it's really effective to do that.
Yeah. And who doesn't like to see Tau stealth suits being repeatedly shot?
Yeah,
That'll
but-
teach the Pathfinders.
But for example, something like
Yeah.
the Imperial Guardsmen, one of the guys here I was talking to, he's thinking about making an entire squad going all platoon on him.
Yeah,
So have them being shot. Why not?
yeah, just have them being riddled.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
be really,
it's-
like one guy with one shot and one guy looking out, and then another guy who's just dead on the base, and then a guy who is.
It's funny, you see in historics, you certainly see it a lot more. You will see Napoleonic regiments, and there will nearly always be somebody dead on a base, somebody just being hit by a musket or a cannonball and blood splatter. Perrys are very keen on it. It happens a lot. But you're right, it doesn't translate across as much into
Yeah.
science fiction and fantasy. You don't see as many people, maybe because they're not willing to watch their beautiful creations die on them day after day.
It's
But yeah.
cool to do that. I'm waiting for you to start going into Saga, by the way. But
No,
I
not
was
yet.
waiting-
No,
not yet. Okay, people
Got-
are
got
people
to
are
buy-
hanging around with shots at home,
Gotta bide
waiting
my
for you
time.
to talk about Saga. Okay,
And then it'll just be Saga, and they'll be hammered in half an hour. It's good.
that is the general
Yeah.
idea. Yeah. Last thing I had on my little cheat sheet here, special effects.
Special effects.
Yeah, special effects are always cool, especially with paints these days. You get all kinds of paints to do, like flames
Yeah.
and OSL lightning and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You can set a guy on fire, for example. Take this one. That's easier
Okay.
to see. So it's a guy that is set on fire because he's more effective in game for War Machine.
When he's burning.
Yeah, he's actually more effective when he's burning.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. But you could also do something like a
Muzzle flash.
muzzle flash.
Yeah.
Easy to do. A flamer. A flame burst, something like that. And something like a rocket coming out and just going all in the wrong direction. Stuff like that makes it look really cool and makes it look really epic. And like I said, it's a snapshot mid battle, which is really cool.
I do like that flamer. And it's something, and if people are looking to do things like this, if you start Googling pictures, so Google flamethrowers, and you'll find lots of pictures from Vietnam and from World War II. But what you'll find is it's nearly always level at the bottom, or it will arc. So the bottom's quite tight, and then it expands to the top because the flame goes up, the smoke goes up. And I've seen people do flames, and it's almost like a cone. It starts at one side and expands. So it's always worth, when you're doing anything, and it's the same as the positioning. You know, you're not just looking to get the position to make it look effective and realistic. You need to have an idea of what you're doing now. I can twist my body this way to see if my model will fit that way. Unless you went out and bought the very boring company's flamethrower, most people don't have access to one of those. So Google it. Google flames and see, how they act and how they look.
Look at stuff. It's a strange thing. You can accept that there's green guys that are extremely muscular and that can hardly talk, that they are walking around and driving around in a Land Raider that is manned by a machine spirit.
Yes.
You don't care about that. But flames looking the wrong way, you don't accept that.
Yeah, because you know how it should act in reality.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that draws you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm just checking to see what people are saying. Looks great, but if you get charged, then it's going to get in the way. It will get in the way, but you can just turn it round. You can you could even magnetize these and click them off if you really wanted to be clever. I wouldn't, but you could. It's one of those things. It's
there's no
lots of stuff will get in the way in the game. Even things like just the actual not Carnifex Hive Tyrant there.
I think it's a Trigon.
Or is it Trigon?
I think it is.
They're more or less all the same. But in the grand scheme of things, a lot of these massive tyrannid beasts have got arms and limbs that will get in the way just from how they're built. So you've got to give a bit of give and take when you're actually building your army anyway. Nothing is ever going to accurately represent it. And it's only ever a few millimeters, so push it back, fit it in.
What I do, I'm still playing War Machine tournaments where measurements are extremely tight and extremely important. I always have like a proxy base or two in my bag.
In tournaments, you'll always
with
get
something
proxy
like that,
bases.
you just put a base down there if anybody wants to charge it. He dies anyway. He's a guardsman, so there's not. Yeah, if it looks cool, I think that trumps just about everything, and especially with 40K because the direction isn't important. You can just turn it around so that his back is towards the model.
Put him in. Let him flame his friends. Yeah. That's right, Adam. The rule of cool.
Yeah, a couple of other ones. Basing, extremely important. Basing, and why is the base so important? I keep repeating that because it frames your model.
Yes,
and it lets you do different things with them. And a lot of people forget that. If you take this Trigon, for example, he is just the base is not the easiest to make. Can I put that somewhere on a camera that you can?
Well.
Yeah, I can just hold it up if you want to, but...
is that good enough?
I just...
What are you looking to show from it?
No, just
Yeah,
just the
just
idea
all of
that
it? Oh,
yeah, all of it.
So-
the fact that he is on a base like that, there's not that much of a conversion going on.
No.
Because everything you do, the base is the big conversion. All of the rest, I'm not gonna try to diminish John's work, but of course, but the model is just a model that is put together the way it should be put together. And he cut the tail in 2 parts so that you can see it, a part of that there,
Yeah.
and a part of that sticking out of there. And that's about all there is conversion-wise. But this tells a story
Yeah.
that you can't tell any other way, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
Something like
And
that.
even with the way the actual, I'm assuming they're Hearst Arts bricks that have been
Yeah,
broken and
they
then
are, yeah.
and they've been pinned, so you can actually see you can see some of the pins in here. So it gives you that idea that he's erupting
Yeah.
and knocking all of the brickwork out of the way or the tiles out of the way, or he's a Jedi like Yoda and he's just floating them around him, which is even more terrifying when you reach the point where Neds are Jedi masters. I think we're all. Well, I was going to use a word there, but I probably shouldn't when we're live. We're live. Don't say any of those.
In problems.
Yes.
In trouble.
Yeah,
That's what you want
very
to
much
say.
so.
No,
Yeah,
something.
and it's another thing basing can do, which somebody was talking about the other day, when you've got a army that's hodgepodge, not a uniformed look to it per se, and maybe you've got different elements making the army up, and they're going, well, how do you do this and still make it look like a cohesive force? And the basing is the way you do that. Don't worry about the fact that X doesn't have the same uniform as Y, because they didn't. But at that point, the actual basing itself will pull everything together.
There's another way to do that, by the way. If you want to do something
Color
like
palettes.
the color palette. Limit your color palette, but be free with the color palette. So make sure that every time you use blue, you use the exact same blue.
Yeah.
And if you use a green, you use the same green. And if you limit your color palette, it all gets tied together in a.
Doesn't work so well with certain things like Napoleonics, where you British red coats with grey trousers, and then green jacket riflemen, and then hussars who wear blue. So you don't have the repeating colours with.
True. Yeah.
So at that point you are stuck with basing. But yes, the other thing would be colour palette.
there's a reason why I don't play Napoleonics, probably.
Oh, you should. It's fantastic. Once we find the rule set. John's still out there looking for it, but we will.
Okay. It's a fantastic game if we find a rule set for it.
You need to find one that everybody enjoys.
Okay. Then I'm going to show one more, if I can.
You can.
2 more. This one, for example, is a really good one. I don't know if you can get it in camera. Yeah, something like that. He's got foot on rock, foot on rhino,
Yes.
actually. That changes his pose. That means you can do something with that model, because all of a sudden, instead of him just standing there and watching something, is striding forward and putting his foot on that rock. And I'm lucky that he is magnetized. This model looks completely different. If he does that, for example, like that, then he is just shouting like, "We won."
Yeah.
If we change it up and do this to the bottom and put this hand forward, then he's channeling towards something, and he's trying to reach something, or trying to do some magic or whatever. But so just changing what I said earlier, just doing something like that takes some time to really position your model well, and it'll work a lot better that way, and it will look a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Beyond what we just said is my favorite kind of modeling, which is throwing away the sheet of how to do it and just having fun with it. Sticking parts where parts shouldn't go, and doing something completely different with it. You have to have the heart to do that, and you have to want to do that, of course. So it's not for the faint of heart always, but you can just completely shake something up. And I always see, like, if you buy a box from GW, it's not a model, it's a box of Legos. And
That's one way of looking at it, certainly.
yeah, it's the way I always look at it. It's just Legos. And if you buy another box, it's other Legos that you can combine with the Legos you bought earlier. And if you got a lot of Legos, then you can just do whatever you want with them.
Yeah.
And just combine them freely. It's expensive Lego, but
It is. But,
It is
well,
fun.
to be fair, even Lego is expensive.
yeah, true.
Cephion. Yes, the Trigon base. The Trigon base's tiles are made from Hearst Arts, which aren't tile that you would buy their molds that you buy in cast. So they do a range of things, whether it's flagstones, stonework, piping, industrial sections, and those were just cast in a stone compound and then hit with a hammer, I imagine.
Yeah, it's the same stuff that's on the other base there. Yeah.
Yeah. So even these,
you cast them in plaster, or you cast them in
resin. Yeah, it's just a
if you
silicone
want to.
mold.
Yeah, it's a silicone mold. And anybody who hasn't tried that out, don't ever visit that site because it's gamer crack.
Yeah, yeah.
Mainly,
that way,
it's
like
so addictive.
Madness and death. It does go, and yeah, you can go very deep in it. Whenever you get it and you go, oh, I could get just a pipe section. I just need some pipes, and then you go, but here's a section that adds to those pipes. I'll buy it, and they're not the cheapest thing, the molds, but once you have the molds, you can start.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start hammering out as many as you want.
Yeah, and then it's so much fun, and you, it's. I really love playing with those things. Not just for terrain, because it's meant to be made for terrain, but you can do so much more with it on miniatures and on bases. I use it all the time for bases, especially for the bigger stuff. Really check that out. Treat yourself.
There's a comment. Would you recommend only doing the dynamic stuff on important units like HQ and giant models like the Trigons, Knights, etc.?
To start with, yes.
See, because I would go the other way. If I'd never picked up a knife and a pair of clippers before, I would quite happily start repositioning a single figure in a unit or a couple of figures in a unit in a squad of 10 or 20 men, because then it gives you the option to make mistakes and to have those errors and learn the process and get a bit more comfortable with what you're doing, and then you can tackle HQ, tackle the big creatures, that sort of thing, with a bit more confidence. But at the same time, there's no reason why you can't, especially if you're only doing a single HQ choice. Yeah, go nuts. If you want to try and get your teeth in and try a few others out there, and it will also change up the look of the overall army. If you've got one or two here and there, just even scattered, you don't have to go every single unit and every single model must be unique and sculpted. You can just start tweaking.
This is where I'm not the right person to talk to, because I'm the guy who
will do
is buying two armies basically to make one army because it looks cool. So I'm not the right guy to talk to here. But yeah, you can just start by doing HQs. I completely understand what you're saying about trying it out on smaller models first and on less important models first. The downside of that is that nobody sees them. So I did that once. I made a completely Khorne berserker unit, army, and every unit was converted, and you do all kinds of small things and small repositionings, and in the entire army, nobody sees that anymore, because the grunts in a unit of Imperial Guardsmen, nobody looks at them each individually. You can go like, look, you see, this guy, I did this or I did this. Nobody will see it. So if you really want to make it pay off, do it on all of them, really.
I would be for the do it on all of them.
Me too. It's what I usually do for that, by the way, is I told somebody today, I always start by if I buy a new army, I start by doing very heavy conversions on the models, because I know that the first units I'm gonna take a lot of time doing that. The second one as well. The third one maybe. The fourth, fifth, and sixth one I buy of those units. I don't have any inspiration left. I don't feel like doing it anymore. So I just want to glue them together the way they should go together and be done with them and just put some paint on it. So I always start with the heaviest conversion work first. Yeah. And then you can always water it down
work
later.
Your way back. The other good thing is whenever somebody sees the completely static, untouched unit, and they're so used to every other unit being converted that they're looking and trying to work out what have you changed in that unit, and you're going, no, nothing.
It is so subtle that you can't even see it. Yeah, absolutely. To finish off, unless you get on any other.
No, I'm just keeping my eye there to see if anything else throws itself at me.
The most important two things here that I noted down here is first one, make a scene. Always make a scene here. What do I mean with that? It's not just a model you're making. It is it's a scene you're making. That's why the base is important. The base sets the scene. It's the place where you are standing. and that's where your hero is going. Yeah, make a scene out of it. Don't just put the model on a black base and then flock it afterwards. That's a pity.
Yeah.
I think you're missing something if you're doing that. Make it like a snapshot out of a movie. It's actually the best way to describe it. Look at your miniature. If it could be in a movie like that,
Yeah.
you done it well. If it can't be in a movie, you're missing something.
Yeah.
And that's a pity. So I always want to be all of my miniatures to be walking away from a movie frame.
Yeah.
With the framing around it and with everything, it has to be a scene for me. And the second one that's really important is tell a story.
Yeah.
Always tell a story with your miniatures. You can just toss everything on there you want to. You can make really cool conversions and technically really cool stuff. If it doesn't tell a story, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's just junk put onto a model. Like I said, a fur cloak tells a story of him being in the snow.
Yeah.
So if you do that, make sure he's on a snow base, for example. Hide a monster underneath the snow, like the head of a monster, or have some eyes peeking out from somewhere. If you're doing whatever, like blood splatter, let him be on a battlefield with torn up buildings and everything. And all of a sudden, instead of him just being shot, he is on that battlefield, and he is in a rough war between a rough city war for something like that.
Yeah.
And it makes all the difference. And you've got this entire canvas of your entire army that you can use to tell that story. And it's all little scenes from that story. And if you put your army together, you get the entire story. And that's what I love about modeling miniatures and doing conversions and everything.
It gives you the whole narrative from start to finish.
Yeah, you can actually tell you can make a movie. You can tell a movie, sell a movie, or how do you call it, just in your army.
Yeah.
You can make it a movie, and that's what I love about it.
It's certainly something people should think about when they are working on it. And like you say, it's not the cheapest hobby in the world. And it can be very time consuming as well. So having that extra time devoted to it, to really give yourself something that you can be proud of every time you put it on the table and throw it out there, and people know that Eldar army shows a very specific thing, or maybe you've got a friend who always plays with a specific army. So a good one is having bits of their armor or bodies or whatever strewn about the place. You know, if you're going to have dead bodies on the base, make sure they wear the same regimental colors as whatever your friends play.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're going to have trophies hanging off banners, then make sure that it's the Black Templar shoulder pads that your friend always rocks his Black Templars out in, or the Raven Wing, and tie it into your friends.
If you make a banner, make sure to put the right colors on them, and like there's on banners, there's always like the history of the chapter on there, for example, or from the Force. Put them on there, and GW does it all the time. The Ultramarines, they have a long-standing animosity with the Tyranids because
somebody ate somebody once. Not saying who ate who.
There's a reason why Robert Gulliman got so big. Let's be honest. He ate that Trigon. But no, create stories like that. It'll make it look cooler. And the fun thing about 40K and the greatest thing about 40K for me are the stories behind it, and the fact that you've got this huge wealth of background out there. And you can fit your own army somewhere in there. For example, can you put the orc back on there with the Tyranid's armor?
Oh yes,
where it went.
He's on top of this Landry.
That guy. The idea behind that army was a Tyranid hive fleet lands on an orc, infested or inhabited planet, whatever you want. And the orcs win, because they're the bigger predator.
That makes sense.
And the orcs just started pushing back and started to kill the Tyranids. And they started, because that's what they know. Like, these are the bad guys. We are the good guys. And they start making trophies and armor out of those Tyranids. And they have looted vehicles from the Tyranids and like looted carnifexes and everything. And you can start telling that story. within that 40k universe. You can go completely outside of the 40k universe. I know Warren is a big fan of that, gaming in the gaps and finding ways to get out of that. You can absolutely do it. I mean, Galaxy is huge, so as long as they're suffering, it fits into 40k.
Harsh but fair. Yeah.
But if you can fit it in there somewhere, it's really fun to tell that story. It's the same like the Eldar they've shown off before today. It's Eldar, it's Exodites, but they're Saimhan Exodites. And it fits straight into the 40k lore.
Yes.
So you can do really cool stuff with that. And people will go at that and go like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They will immediately understand it and get it like, okay.
The where it's come from and the direction you're going with it.
So that's a fun thing to do.
I like it. I love it. I hope you guys out in the community are loving it as well. You're going to be around for the rest of the weekend. So if people have questions, fire them in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been lurking on Twitter. There's also a hashtag, which is hashtag 40k Hobby Weekend, I believe.
Yeah.
And also on the site itself. So if you've been interested in some of the conversion and some of the things we've been talking about, ask, and we'll do our best to try and get them answered. Also, there's already a lot of stuff on tabletop.com that Thomas has done, so showing how to do a lot of the green stuff work, doing things like the muzzle flashes and doing the flames, doing some of the larger conversions. It's there on the site already. If you've not given conversion a try, then why not give it a try this weekend?
Yeah.
Fire a project in as well.
Yeah, if there are people who have really concrete questions, I know there's a diary room set up with a Twitch stream attached to it, I think.
Is.
So if I've got a question like, how can I do this or that, I can just pop in there over the weekend and answer that question if you want.
Look at that. Personal answer from the master himself. So, folks, we're going to head on here. Just let us know below what you think, what your ideas are for conversions, what you would do, and get some projects going. Don't forget to stick the little drop down and pick the 40k Hobby Weekend tab in the project system on tabletop.com, and we'll speak to you again soon. Take it easy. Hi folks, welcome back to more hobby goodness from the 40k hobby weekend, where we do hobby. And I'm stopping by with the kids before they have to go to bed because they're starting to get cranky. It's getting late. I want to see what they've been up to and what they've managed to get done so far. I'm going to start annoyingly with him in the corner. You shift yourself in a bit, young man, because you've actually got paint on stuff. How did you manage that?
I built quickly enough, and then I primed them, and then I started to paint them.
Right. I'm having flashbacks to your quick build at the World War II boot camp, where we ended up with tiny fighting men with tiny fighting guns stuck to things they shouldn't have been stuck to. So have you managed to get the right pieces into the right places this time?
Partially. I mean, he's a bit crooked. I can't deny that. He's a bit wavy.
He's starting to list to one side. Has he had a few? He's had a few bevies before heading out with the rest of the Eldar war host. But yeah, no, okay, yeah. Speed over quality. Is that what we're going for here?
Yeah, indeed.
Are you just aiming to get everything built for this weekend?
Yes.
Built, painted out of the way?
Yeah.
And you're going Iandon?
Yes.
Why are you going Iandon?
I don't know. I genuinely just looked at him and was like, oh, that looks pretty nice. And then...
Yeah, you went, yellow's incredibly difficult to paint all of the time. I want an entire army painted in yellow. Is that what you said?
I didn't realise how difficult yellow was at the time. And as soon as I got it, I regretted every decision I ever made.
Regrets. We've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. Well, you're actually Abaddon blacking things at the moment. Oh, you're not contrasting that? You're just using regular paints and washes, are you?
Yes, indeed. It makes just life a lot easier, in my opinion.
It's a good opinion to have. I like it. But we'll be back to you. We'll see how you get on, young man.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. And you, meanwhile, you appear to have done remarkably well.
Yeah, Shay helped me a bit. Like, building, so we've got a bunch of guard, 2 tank.
A bunch, that is the collective noun for guardsmen, is a bunch. Also sometimes known as a corpse pile.
Yeah.
I've got a corpse pile of guardsmen.
Or cover.
Yeah, or cover. Cover works well. I used to know a guy who would play with Imperial Guard and would use Space Marines as the meat shield in front of his guardsmen because they've got better armor save, so they survive longer. Have you painted these today?
Good few. Like a good. I started. They've been primed before, and a lot of them they only had the fatigues done. But the rest of it I've done today, so just doing the same coat, then metallics and washes, and they'll hopefully be done.
And you, again, are bucking trend where you've not jumped on the contrast paint bandwagon like everybody else I've been speaking to. You're using real paints that have pigments and solid colours. Yeah. How's that working?
Yeah, I just prefer it, sorry.
You're not tempted? Not tempted to experiment? You're only young once, it's always good to experiment.
I tried them on a Space Marine army, and just these ones I just wanted to do with normal paints.
Fair enough. We'll just move along here. I see somebody hammering a dry brush into that what looks like a contemptor. So, yeah, we're going to come and pick on you now. There's no point in laughing at your friends when I've got a microphone and I've got a friend with a camera. Get the camera back on him. Get it on. Keep it on that man. What are you laughing for? How dare you? How very dare you? What you doing, young lad?
I'm dry brushing.
What, he's very gold.
Yes.
Does he have to be that gold?
Yes.
Why?
He's a custodian.
He's a custard marine.
Yes.
Because you like filth. Have you been learning from somebody in here? Where is he? He's not. Alpha Strike's gone.
Alpha Strike has made a run for it. Sorry, lads.
Because the one thing I know about the custard marines is they are filth on legs.
Yes, they are. Indeed.
What's the plan for the colour scheme then? Is it a standard layout, or are you going for something intricate or something detailed, or how are we going about this today?
Gold.
Just gold.
Just gold.
Always believe in your soul, you're indestructible. And custard marines mostly are indestructible. Nice. I would say if you can lay your hands on some chestnut or brown ink, or I think Ogren Flesh Wash is probably closest this day, hammer that over the top of the gold. It generally works well, and then you can edge highlight with silver. I can come back and show you how that works later on if you want to. But it works really well on gold. It will give your gold depth. Chestnut and then silver edge highlight works well. No contrast tones or anything. No, you're just going to go gold. You're very dull. That's an awful lot of bling for a young man.
Gold though. It's gold. It's not dull. It's gold.
Well, that is true, yeah. All that glitters is not gold. In this case, though, it is. That was full when he started. There's barely any left in there now. He's really hammering into it, yeah. Oh, that one makes more sense, yeah. Okay, let's go and see who else we can pick on. Oh, I can see people far away, but I don't know whether or not you've got the length. We'll move down here a little bit. Shuffle down. I see Norks and another child, and somebody's left their paintbrush upside down in the water pot. You'll ruin the tip.
I don't care about that tip, it's dead.
And it's dead because you don't care about it. Oh, just the worst. Right, you have all the paints.
Because yellow's the best colour and easiest colour to paint with.
Are you high?
High on orcs, fungus, orcoid fungus, lower.
Just checking. So what are you actually working on then? Shooters or looters or...
I think I made a flash gate and then shoot a bunch of shooters, yeah. Knobs, grots, you know, like orc with a grot head, because that works. More knobs, lots of knobs, just plenty of knobs everywhere.
What have you been working on today then anyway? Is this an orc starter set?
Maybe stolen that I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Bad person.
I'm curious now as to what else you have here to build over the weekend, because it looks like you're fixating on doing everybody to the max there and not just hammering through, which I approve of wholeheartedly. So what is the plan? What are you hoping to get done this weekend?
Maybe all 10 of these orcs and that's about it.
Quality has a quantity of its own. Let's reverse that one for the kids out there. And for once, the orcs aren't just going for the horde look. Good luck with that. Good luck with your easy to paint yellow as well. Terrific. Creeping along. You're still building. We'll come back to you in time. Don't worry. He's new. He's so shiny and new. He's got it's like a new smell. Hardly even gamed at all. Oh my word, that's impressive. Yes, that's impressive as well. But mostly, look what's going on here. I'm quite impressed by these, but I'm mostly impressed by the fact you seem to have done it with a tea bag. Have you been teabagging these ancient demons?
Yeah, why not? No.
No, not doing that. All right, okay. That was just. I was thought there was a hobby tip coming here to break out the Tetleys, but no. So contrast.
Yeah, pretty much. I've never used it before, so I thought give it a go, and it's surprisingly easy to make things yellow and blue.
So it's two-tone wet blending into each other, or are you layering it up?
Just yellow at the back, blue at the front, and then just mash it around with a paintbrush.
See, and this is the thing I've been told for a lot of people who've started experimenting with contrast paints is it does come down to what you use it on and how you use it. And one of the things that works really well on is biologicals and doing two-colored wet blending into each other, because it's more or less you've got such a long drying time on it, it makes life so much easier there. It's just like two inks merging, I have to say.
Gives you a good iridescent kind of stingray look, like underwatery, ripply. That's the camera there.
I have to say, I really like how they've turned out in such a short time. Which one killed Steve Irwin?
Oh, that's this one with the two stingers.
Two stings, Filth Wizard. Yeah, well, you can't have everything there. But yeah, I'm really impressed. And the rest of your warband, is it going to get done in the same colour scheme, or are you picking something unusual, or have you not even decided yet? Is it what's going to come to you in time?
Well, I think they're going to be same thing, but with red and yellow. But I've run out of bases because I decided to use these bases on these guys, so they're on hold for the moment.
Oh no, I'm sure we can prize bases off something else. Certainly one of the kids won't pay attention. They never bring all their stuff home. We find it weeks after they've left, at which point we'll have at them. Yeah, oh well, that's it. That's generally what I do to distract the children. So I'm seeing very nice black and blue, and that's just the hair. Hey, I'll be here all week. Thank you. So what are we working on then?
Well, I haven't done, so I haven't played Warhammer 40k since I was about 12, so it's quite fun to sort of be getting back into it and, trying new Tyranids. But, so sort of all the musculature is blue, so the guardsmen know where to shoot, and the armor plating black.
I like the armor plating being black. Are you going to do anything with the armor plating to make it pop a bit?
So I'm probably going to pick out the edges in lighter tones sort of to bring it out, and then see where that gets me.
I was playing with doing some xenomorph-like aliens recently, and weirdly what I found worked really well was purple and green metallic paint, which is something that GW haven't made in years, but you can do yourself by the medium of contrast paints and ink. and then just a silver. But it just means it's like a crow's wing. When you tilt it, you just see like oil, like a glisten sort of coming across it, which I quite like, isn't it? A sort of an iridescent sort of beetly look for someone. But anyway, that's just me because I'm weird like that. But yes, yeah, I'm going to move on and see whether or not I can get him to reach the end of his wire. He's saying yes. He's saying he can go so much further. You're so mean to me. We'll do one more and then I'll let you go. How about that? Is that good enough? Can't reach? Oh, you're just the worst. But that's okay. I can tow somebody back. Can I tow you back?
Well, I'm heavy, so good luck with that.
That's all right. Unfortunately, my little camera monkey can't get any further. But you've brought with you this week some Nurgle.
Yes, some Nurgle.
And I see that most of it is down and primed right now. What are you working on?
So most of them I've got primed. I'm working on the plague bearers at the moment, and I've then one more of these gribbly things that sort of do up.
Plague drones and go for it.
Called? Yeah, well, gribbly thing with the elephant fly thing.
That will work as well. Are these getting hit with the contrast goodness, or are you planning something else for them? Because I know normally you're quite fond of the airbrushing.
I would normally undercoat everything in the airbrush, but I didn't bring it, so I'm just gonna mostly contrast everything. So the plan would be maybe like a brown, and then I think I'm going to go purple on the wings, or something lighter, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
A bit more iridescent.
Yes, that's a big word.
I've got word of the day toilet paper. It gives me something to read in the bathroom. Is that painted Nurgle plague bear behind us?
Sort of.
Can we have a look at him? Oh, that's all right. None of my stuff's ever finished. So, yeah.
Because I brought this. So this is what my basing's going to be like. So because my plan is to have sort of like a Nurgle army all over the place. So and have everything. So I brought this wee thing. Plus, it's going to give me something to shoot if I actually play something this weekend.
That would be good. It's always, even if you're only getting one shot off, that's more than most.
One shot's all you need.
One shot's all you need, especially if we can put you opposite Captain Alpha Strike. It might be all you get.
I was going to say that's what she said.
That too. It can't be any worse than anything I've said down the rest of this. Anyway, I'll let you get back to the painting.
Allowed to swear?
Are we allowed to swear? He says no. No. You can swear later.
That's actually one. I actually did these yesterday, so that is. I can't remember what colour it is. I think it's actually Skeleton Horde, and then there's a bit of Blood for the Blood God with some medium mixed into it, and that's what I've went over the pustules. That's another big word. So the plan would be, jeez, it's brilliant. So the plan is just to pick out, maybe tomorrow we'll start picking out a few other things, and then the sword is Vallejo dark grey with, I think it's Vallejo light sea green dry brush over it, and it sort of gives it a nice sort of stony, nurgly something.
We're all for nurgly somethings.
Yeah, I'm not very articulate today.
That's okay. We forgive you.
It's not often I get a big thing stuffed in my face.
Not so early on a Friday night. Right, folks. One more thing. Yes. Okay. I'm being prompted. It's like they don't know what I'm doing. And in many respects, they're entirely accurate, correct. So, before I move on, just to let you know, the lovely iridescent Steve Irwin killing stingrays were done by Caesar, who does the webcomic that you may see me occasionally majestically hair colour changing. I only changed my hair colour and hair length, by the way, just to keep you on your toes, Caesar, just in case you hadn't realised. So you should check out some of his stuff. Also, if you're interested in any things you've seen here, you should let us know. If there's anything that you can catch out the corner of your eye that you want to see more of and we haven't been near yet, let us know that too. If you want to do a project, get onto the On Tabletop site, go to the hobby project section, and in the little drop down, pick 40k hobby weekend, see what we're doing there. And if you want to hashtag us at hashtag 40k hobby weekend, it's written there in big letters, you can't see it, it's out of frame. So I know what I'm doing. Then just hashtag us with that on the Twitters. Maybe, I don't know how the internet works. I just haven't a clue. We're going to move on. Ryan's going to wet himself.
and we're going to be back soon. Take it easy, folks. Bye-bye.
Have you cut to us?
Of course he has. Hi, folks.
Hello.
1 second, guys. Let us just turn our stream off this end. Anyone on the stream, we'll be back in a minute. Bye.
So at this point, we don't know if Lance has cut to us or not.
I told you I'd knock.
I think so.
You said you were ready to go.
See.
Are we live then? Yes.
Then we change what we were going to do.
Fantastic. Okay, well, we're on now. So, hello, Laughing Boy and Junior Laughing Boy.
Laughing Boy.
Can we get you to move slightly over to your to either to your left or your right or something?
Yeah.
You weren't expecting it this early, Martin.
Well, we've been partying today, so we've got music going and all sorts.
Oh, happy days. How's your 40k weekend going, chaps?
We're really enjoying it. Yeah. It's we've been live streaming since about midday. We've been building and painting and eating and laughing and doing all sorts.
Oh, fantastic.
Great.
Fantastic.
More for the eating and laughing.
So, Martin, dude.
I'll show you a sec. But I know this is completely off topic, but my wife brought us
Well,
a
that's never stopped us.
Look at this!
It's just a basket full of food. Look, there we go.
Oh man, that is fantastic. Martin, I think me and you are building the same army this weekend.
I'm building a full-on demon army of Zinch, Nurgle, Khorne, and Slanesh.
Oh, he's going for all of it.
You're going for the whole hog.
Yeah, I've got 4 collecting boxes, and we're going to do the whole lot.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I have just finished, literally just in the last the last 5 minutes, finished building the last of my Demons of Khorne starter set. Right, so what can I say about it? I love it. I think they're great. I love all the little demon dudes.
Yes.
The demon throne thing.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a little bit of complexity to that, but I got there. I've got it in the end. And what I did was, I've made a couple of mistakes, but I think I've recuperated from them. So I've kept all my fleshy demons.
Yes.
Separate from my hard demon machines.
Engines.
Yes, from the demon engines. And then what I'm going to have a go at tomorrow is I'm going to prime them all with the Wraithbone.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to use an airbrush with the contrast paints on the demon engines. And I'm going to use contrast more traditionally with a brush on the fleshy demons.
That should be interesting to see.
I think it'll be good. I
keep hearing varying results for people who've tried airbrushing stuff.
Yeah.
So some people say it's terrible, don't airbrush it, it loses all quality, and other people go, oh no, it's fine.
Yeah, I think it'll be all right. I think it'll be fine. I'm not expecting it to do a mad amount of shading, but what I don't want is my demon machines to be all kind of full of brush marks and tide marks all over the place. I want to try and see if I can keep them
clean,
machiney,
yeah,
machine-like in some way. Have you guys reached the painting stage yet, or are you still building over there?
I'm painting.
Oh, dude, well done.
Show on screen what you've done. So
what are you
starting with?
I'll do this guy. I've been painting my towel.
Oh, fantastic! Contrast paints, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly.
So James has got this is the Kill Team set for 40k for Tau, and then once he's kind of happy with his color scheme, he's going to do the Getting Started Tau box.
Yeah.
And then he's got a few little extras you might get over the weekend. Yeah.
Awesome.
Are you doling out your own hobby prizes there, Martin?
Yeah.
If you do well, James, you might get something.
We're doing the whole shebang. We're doing. He's going to win spot prizes over the weekend. we're fully in.
Oh yeah. Go all in.
That's the way to do your digital hobby weekender right there. So, and how have you found the streaming? Are you having fun with that?
Yeah, it's been quite fun.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's really nice because I think people have been dipping in and out of sort of us, and then seeing when you've got stuff going on. You know, when it's not just the tilting camera, they might pop in and say hello, and then we then come back. We've even embedded you in our stream when you're doing stuff, so we can also watch. Otherwise, we miss what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think it's worked really well. Actually, it's been great fun. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a good kind of technical challenge for us all. Not only technical, but also from the running order perspective, because what we're trying to do is to make sure that we don't have something going on all the time.
Yes.
So that folk can dip in and out of the other streams as they're going on, so that it's that we widen. It's not all about us, it's about what the community is doing.
Yeah.
So as a test bed for what we're doing, I think we'll find our feet. Remember, we're only in the first evening of a live weekend, so. Any suggestions that you have, hop into the chat, tell us, tell Laughing Boy, tell the other streamers, and Martin, you make sure, and if anything you think of, mate, just feed it back to us, and then over the course of this weekend, let's evolve it and see how we get on.
Adam says, James, that your Tau is heresy. What Adam doesn't know is that you have a mighty Tyranid fleet as well.
We have a whole table of it behind us. So that's the other thing we're hopefully going to do by Sunday. I've also got cameras set up on the table behind us and like a dice box cam and a few others. So if we can, we might try and do a live stream, sort of, me and James going at it on the table we've built.
Oh, that'd be good.
So it'll be good fun.
Yeah.
See, getting a game in or two.
Well, so far in the chat, Aurora and Bag. James, she is absolutely loving the blue cloak, mate. For Odyssey, I think it is, their favorite, Jerry, is you walking around judging people.
I'm not judging people. I'm giving criticism and advice.
It's called sage advice,
sage
man.
Advice,
it's sage advice.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
You are literally, the young ones in here. They look at Jerry with some awe, and I have to explain to him he is basically our version of the BFG.
Yes, very much.
But he has little bags of sand, which is sage advice. And then he just sprinkles it upon you, whether you want it or not.
Yes, that's exactly what I do. And if they don't listen to me, I blow it in their eyes. That's how that goes.
Right, we have a few projects to look at. So, Martin, James, do you fancy joining us as we look at a couple of the other projects that people are working on?
We can bring up this end and have a look. Yeah.
Okay, so the way we're going to work this, Ben, is Ben, you've picked out a few projects. As we go to look at them, if you can ping Martin and James over the link, and then they can open it up on their side. How about that?
Yeah, you tell me what you're looking at, and we'll.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. So we're going to start off with the first project is one that was started off, I think it was a couple of days before the hobby weekend started to kick off fully, and it's by Fire Blarney. And this is him building up a Salamander's force for use in 40k. So it started off with a lot of painting of some of the really awesome looking Space Marines that you get for these guys already. There's a whole bunch of Primaris that have already been done, as well as a whole bunch of the classic Salamanders too. And they've really got that nice, fiery, iconic stuff on their shoulder pads, which I always think is fantastic. And that deep, rich, almost I'd say sort of racing car green that you
love
get
that green
British stuff.
Yeah.
But, the other really cool thing I like about these guys is that obviously from their world that they come from, it's all covered in lava and black stone and everything like that. And so when you see the bases that have been worked on for some of the Primaris, and that's a really cool look, and it really helps to bind everything together as a force later on down the line as well. Actually thinking about Salamanders, my first ever sort of engagement, I guess, with Space Marines was back when I first was getting introduced to the hobby. And I got given a White Dwarf that was the second half of the Armageddon campaign they did, the last one.
Yeah.
And in that, there was an iconic scene where this warehouse is flooded with orcs, and then these up on the gangplanks above it, there are these salamanders just flaming down onto the orcs. And I remember seeing that and thinking they looked absolutely amazing and had to get them, and then realised that I didn't have enough pocket money, so I didn't get them. But,
that was an emotional roller coaster of a story there. The highs, the lows. We were with you every step of the way.
As I say, I love the salamanders. I love the way they look. Really nice and iconic and different from normal Space Marines. So yeah,
I think the salamanders are a fascinating chapter actually, and one that. One of the interesting things, most of us have now seen it. So the new Space Marines book is due to drop any time now, and they had a teaser picture up. Ben, you'll probably be able to fill us in a bit more detail, but there's going to be a new Space Marines Codex, and then as well as that, then there's supplemental chapter codexes. Now, the teaser must have showed about 10 of them. I'm really hoping beyond hope that we see some chapters that you would never normally see. I want to see salamanders get a supplement of its own. I'd love to see the Carcharodons get a supplement of their own.
Salamanders were one of the big four. The first Space Marine painting guide was Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Salamanders. Dark Angels didn't get a look in for years after that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they just dropped off a cliff. We didn't see them for a while. So, yeah, I would love to see them back again.
But wouldn't it be nice, like, guys, Martin, James, if you had to pick a more, well, I don't want to say obscure, but, you know, one of the lesser known chapters, what Space Marine chapter might you like to see get a supplement of its own?
Oh, I don't know about, I can't answer that one.
Space Wolves.
You like, when you like, but they're quite. I mean, James likes the Space Wolves. That's kind of like his favourite thing. But I know it's obviously a very well-known chapter.
Yeah.
At the last boot camp, I learned about the Angry Marines.
Oh my God!
The Angry Marines.
Don't Google that.
So, you know, after I heard about those, they were the ones where I need to know more about those guys.
Is it safe to talk about the Angry Marines? Because if it's not safe to talk about them, it's like
I'll do this. Look, now we can talk about the Angry Marines.
I think as long as you say they exist, it's probably all we can say. And then
Ben, if you had to pick a chapter for something different, something that would make us all as a community just stop and go, oh, hang on, time to crack open some new pots of paint. You know, we're going to paint something different.
You know what would be really good? I'd love to, and I know that there are a couple of people at Games Workshop who really, really love this chapter. Howling Griffins, bringing those guys back with their like half and half yellow red.
Yeah,
quartered. Cool.
Yeah.
Doing something with them would be pretty awesome. Beyond that, it would be really awesome. What was the? I just thought of a chapter and completely lost it. Never mind.
It's okay.
Yeah, that was it.
I've read your mind. I've read your mind.
Mentors.
No, I've read his mind. I know exactly what chapter it is. The Astral Knights.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say that. But that would be
it should be. The Astral Knights would be awesome. We have a beautiful Astral Knights
You can
army.
redo my brain. I'll say that. But I think it would be really wicked. Oh my God, where am I? I mean, back in the 90s. It would be fantastic to see the Blood Ravens given an actual official codex and really dive into their lore. Because I really liked what they did with them for Dawn of War, and I think it'd be fantastic to see that sort of explored going forward. I think that'd be cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that was another wonderful project. Ben, what's next, buddy?
So next up, we're going to be looking at the work by Limburger, who's done a project which is called Let's Go War. So you can obviously...
Oh, we know where this one's going.
And the reason I picked this one up is because of some stuff we were talking about, well, Jerry and Thomas Menace were talking about a little while ago, and that's about conversion possibilities. Now, orcs, as a whole, are a fantastic army for creating brilliant conversions.
Yes.
They are tinkerers. They take things from a whole bunch of different factions and they build them together to create interesting armies. And so I think they're a really good source of sort of inspiration if someone wants to dive into that kind of aspect of the hobby. So it's been really good to see Limburger building up this one, sort of working on the Pain Boy, as you can see later on today. He's also been starting to sort of think about how he's going to paint each of them individually. So he's working out lists for all the different ways he's going to put them together, working on weapon choice and that kind of thing as well. And he's also thinking about the different factions that he might want to work with, because there are so many different factions. We talk about chapters for Space Marines. There are so many different factions when it comes to orcs.
All the clans, all the time.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and he's also been looking at some inspiration as well from videos and all kinds of things like that, with some music and stuff in the background too, which is really cool. But yeah, if orcs are your thing and you like conversion possibilities, there's loads of stuff to come with those guys, especially in that getting started set. And they're kind of fun to paint as well, because you know, do a little bit of green, it works on all the flesh. That's fantastic. That's done. Then you can go crazy on all the sort of ruined metal and the leather and fur and stuff. So
yeah.
I do like how he's laid out that project as well, from the inspiration of music he would listen to, things he's doing, but also here's my setup, here's the camera I'm using, here's what I'm, if you want to follow along at home, or if you want to know what I'm doing with, then here is X, Y, and Z. This is all of it in one go.
And that, it matches the mantra that we're trying to build for the hobby weekends. Learn a bit, teach a bit, enjoy a lot. And this is, anybody that can kind of chip in or take something out of something like this, it's making it all worthwhile. Martin, you guys ever fancy tackling the orcs?
We have an orc kill team. I have most of the orc kill teams, quite frankly. But I do love. We've just watched, obviously, the Thomas Menez session you just did, and it kind of blew James's mind around the whole sort of, how you can tweak models, and you saw one where obviously James, being a Tyranid player, he loved the orc wearing the Tyranid sort of
Tyranid armor.
Tyranid armor. So I think from that point of view, orcs would be super cool for that, right? The fact that you can pretty much do whatever you like with them, because that's what they do. They rip things off of other things and stick them together to make stuff.
One of my friends plays orcs, and they are pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think we could end. Well, yes. The answer is yes.
Thomas Menez blew my mind. Some years ago. Basically, our first interaction with Thomas was Thomas sent in an army. I can't remember what the circumstances of it were. But it was a lot of it was painted, and a lot of it wasn't. But it was an orc army with looted carnifexes.
Yeah,
and it was the most ingenious conversion of an orc army that I had seen, because obviously we'd tinkered with orcs, kit bashing space marine vehicles and things like that there, but to actually see these orcs riding around on Carnifex.
A dreadnought is a dreadnought. When's a dreadnought not a dreadnought? When it's a Carnifex with an orc with his hands in the skull, squeezing bits.
Yeah.
How do I make this go forward? Squeeze twice for forward, squeeze once on the left.
And he just absolutely blew my mind. And it was the beginning of a long and wonderful relationship we've had with Thomas since. He just, the man's creativity, it blows me away. And it terrifies me at the same time, because I'm out there doing a bit of hobby, right? And Thomas walks up, and I immediately feel about an inch tall. And I'm going, Thomas, he says, is there other ideas in your mind? In other words, Thomas, you're telling me I'm being very boring and very straight by the book. But right now, Thomas, I have some red fleshy demons that I want to get done, so I can get them on the table and actually see if I can get them to stomp on somebody this weekend.
Some people were concerned that your Hearst Arts blocks may go disappearing from some of the drawers up there by other people, and that would leave you.
Well, and I think there's a thing also around that fear of. I would definitely feel this, right? I've just spent £50-60 on a model. And do I feel brave enough to potentially cut it up, or chunk bits off of it to make it? That is something I would inherently have a fear of doing, and that's why I don't do too much of it. And I know that's something, as I develop in the hobby, I'll have to want to get past, because the results are amazing.
Yeah.
And I'd be so worried about just the first few models. I was completely balls up, right? And then
to be fair,
and this is what I was saying to him: if you are planning and you've never done it before, grab a rank and file trip. And if you make a hash of it, you make a hash of it. Just leave one guy in the unit with a broken arm. Oh, he's got a broken arm. Unlucky. But at least then you're not worried about hammering that big model first off the bat.
To be fair, though, Martin, it's not as easy today with today's kits. Back in the day, the kits were a lot more. What's the word I want? Opposable and
modular.
Modular's probably the best word that we could come up with.
Yeah.
Because right now, if we picked up back in the day like a big demon, what would have happened is you would have had the wings would have been separate, the arms would have been separate, the
Two
legs would have been
separate,
and a body, and you would have been able to tweak and twist and stuff like that. Now, though, the way they do the injection molding to get as much of this dynamic flow and stuff in it, you'll have half the model will maybe have part of wing, leg, and stuff. And the model goes together.
It jigsaws together like a 3D jigsaw. And if you want to start hammering around with that, in some cases with something that big, and not just a demon, but an intricate model like that where pieces interlock, you're almost better building it in sub-assemblies and then cutting it up again.
Yeah.
So you build the body and then you take a razor saw straight through the middle of
that. I can completely understand where you're coming from on that one, Martin, because if you were buying today's kits, like I'm gonna have you did a beautiful Bloodthirster. We were looking at it
with the contrasts
earlier in the show. Your Bloodthirster with the contrast. So much so, Martin, that I'm pretty much thinking about going out to the store and seeing if we've one left on the shelf, and I'm going to buy it myself to add it to my army.
It's the way to go.
But
honestly, that thing took me probably 2 to 3 hours from start to finish. That's where those contrast paints come into their own.
Yeah.
That's not being good at painting. That is all the paint doing that work. That was such a simple thing to do, which initially looks like a scary model to paint if you're quite new to painting.
And what about the assembly
of
of
contrast?
What about the assembly of the model, Martin? Was it
straightforward?
Was it straightforward or?
Yeah. I built it quite a while ago and then primed it. It's been painted. It's been primed for ages. I've never done anything with it because I always I was never going to do it justice.
Yeah.
So, but I don't remember the building. I think the whip chain thing was probably the most awkward. You've got to sit and hold it for quite a while because it's quite a thin connection. But that was about it.
Yeah. I've got to say, we'll see how I get on with the starter set and the painting of it, but I'm very tempted to add a big beastie.
Give you something to do tomorrow afternoon when everything else is painted.
Oh, well, absolutely, we will see. Right.
I've just built a model that's way worse. So the Slanesh chariot thing.
Yes. Yes, we've been hearing about that. Yeah.
That's taken me 5 hours to build that today. If I never have to build another one again for the rest of my life, I'll be quite happy.
Martin, they come in units of 3. But before we go back to the chat, or before we go back to Ben for the next project, just catching up with the chat. Look, thank you everybody who's logging into the chat. It's pinging away here. It's really great to be able to share this weekend with you guys. Noodles, so he says the size is perfect for Groot and it's cartoonish with an oversized tower. I have jumped into the middle of a conversation. I have no idea what you're talking about there, but it sounds good to me. Ben, what else do we have project-wise, buddy?
Cool, yeah. So the next one we're going to move on to is from Thathirak. I think that's how you say the username. And it's the 40k Hobby Weekend Tower of the Shattered Sword. So this is one that had started off a little bit earlier in the week, where they were putting together a project that was looking at a little bit of inspiration and deciding how they were going to start painting the army and that kind of thing. And it started off inspired by, as you might imagine, from the flag that's at the that's at the top of the project. It's going to be inspired by the Japanese Special Forces and the Navy.
Yeah.
So they've taken that and the sort of style of the tower, because they've got the kind of like Far Eastern Japanese style element to them, that anime aspect to their creation and their sort of aesthetic. And he's using that, and they're using that to build up the army and change the paint schemes. As we go through, you can see that they've been building up all the models, preparing all their tools and that kind of thing as well. So this is a proper project that shows all the different steps that go into actually making these models, and it's all the stuff you need to make them happen as well. And then we actually get to see some of the test paint schemes later on too, go with a really nice, deep, rich blue for most of the armor, which is then spotlighted with some yellows and reds to help sort of like break up the way that the armor is sort of like finished off effectively. And it sort of goes into a lot of that extra detail is then worked into that sort of arm shield that they have. So it kind of works to sort of build on that and sort of show that off as a signifying element of what the tower are and who this unit is and stuff as well. And I'm sure it'll maybe change between the units as we go forward too. But it's been really fascinating looking at this, all those different sort of test paint schemes that people have been doing. I think it's a big key thing, especially for this, where you're going to potentially be building and painting a lot of stuff over a weekend. You want to try and perfect a paint scheme maybe that doesn't take too long to paint, but could give you some really good end results at the end of it. But who cares? If you don't finish it off on the weekend, you just carry on to the next weekend anyway. We'll have a hobby week maybe. But yeah, some fantastic stuff when it comes to Tau, and it's or Tau, as Sam refers to them, because they're all from Yorkshire.
Yeah.
But fantastic stuff from Tatharak. There we go.
Yeah, what a fabulous project. Yeah. What a fabulous project.
I'm loving every bit of that, from getting in there and actually just starting to build, and even going through the assembly line production, going, I cleaned up these bits, didn't clean up the other bit.
Beautiful detail in the project itself, though, when you start to see him even doing little test strips there with
color swatches and that sort of thing.
So it's
he's going great guns.
I cannot wait to see. We'll try and return to all of these projects over the course of the weekend to see how they get on as they progress on through. Ben, have we any more?
So the final project we're going to look at for this little segment is from Ghent 99, and this is
and does it contain a white tiger? Now, for anybody in the know,
Don't panic, Justin.
What's happening? What's happening right now? Okay, is Lance has now left the main recording room where he's been monitoring this broadcast from, and he's running all the way to the other side of the studio to get Lloyd, so that Lloyd can come into the main members suite to be able to be switched to. So it was like I was saying, Lance, surely you will instinctively know when to go and get Lloyd. He said, no, I need a code word. And I said, okay, I'll say tiger. And he said, white tiger. And I thought he'd said why tiger. And I said, well, okay, then I'll say gorilla.
It'll be harder to work into a conversation. Because tiger just trips off the tongue. There's barely a day goes by where I don't slip tiger into conversation.
Within our community, there's two things that we're going to be introducing very soon. For the cult of gamers, we're going to now start wearing fezzes. so prepare yourselves, because fezzes are now going to be entering the cult. And for the wider community, white tiger has now taken on a brand new meaning. If you want Lance to do something, all you have to do is shout, white tiger!
Excellent. I remember that.
Right. What's this last project then, Ben?
Cool, yeah. So it's from Gent99, who's been building an Adeptus Mechanicus force. Now, I looked at this and thought, oh, this is kind of cool. It'd be interesting to see how they do it, using the sort of standard reds and silvers and that kind of thing. But then I was scrolling down through all the painting and some of the ideas that were coming to the fore, and then I started to see not red on the models, but blue. And I was like, hold on a second. Adeptus Mechanicus is in blue? This doesn't make any sense. But when I saw it on some of the bits and pieces, including the Magus and the sort of larger, I think it's like a sand crawler, I can't remember what it's called now. But anyway, when I started seeing the models, is that what it is? Yeah? I was like, wow, this is a really interesting, like, light turquoise blue that I think works really, really nicely.
Oh, it's a man after my own heart. He's cutting himself, Ben.
And it'll go really, really well with silvers and stuff when it comes to that side of thing as well. So it'll be really fascinating to see where this one goes and sort of how the characters are developed and brought to the fore. You can also see some of the work on some of the bits and pieces that sort of build up the aspect of his hobby. So you can see that all the bases have come together really nicely as well. So you've got some really good stuff going on there with all the colours that have been used for that. And there's also some tips and tricks in there too. So one of the ones he's pointed out is that obviously a lot of the colours that you're going to be getting, maybe if you're using a lot of the Games Workshop ones, come in those little sort of like normal Games Workshop pots. You flip the lid up, it's got a little well in the top. He's putting some of that paint into dropper bottles so he can use it a little bit more. His
dropper bottles have needles as well.
They are 10mm steel needle tip dropper bottles. There you go.
We'll have to have a look for them
via the medium of Amazon.
Before. I think he's using it for things like airbrushing and all kinds of things like that. I think Gent is actually in the chat, so maybe he'll be able to clarify that a little bit going forward. But as I say, a really awesome project that's full of really cool things that sort of build on different aspects of the hobby, and also taking the Adeptus Mechanicus in an entirely different direction.
Yeah. I love that color scheme.
It's different. It's unique.
It's going to be beautiful. I love the color choices on that. I can't wait.
Subadai actually says in the chat that they used to be blue in the old Rogue Trader days. So extra old school credits. There you go. Pretty cool.
Nice. Definitely want to keep an eye on that one. He's also using the Vallejo earth texture. I'm still trying to decide what to do with my bases, whether I go down the wallpaper route or go down that kind of cracked earth lava. The cracked earth lava thing's been done, but to be fair, the wallpaper thing's been done because I've done that on the chaos and everything else.
Have you thought about doing your lava a different color? Have you ever Googled blue lava?
Does blue lava exist?
Yes, it's when there's quite a lot of sulfides. It causes the lava and the flame to go like a really neon, vibrant blue, and with the red skin of your demons, it would be really interesting.
Jerry, you're blowing me away. Does blue lava really exist, or are you yanking my chain?
We could even Google it if I knew how to make the machine work. But
right, hang on a second.
I'm not saying it would work. It may just close everything.
It's simple. Hello, computer.
Keyboard. How quaint.
So blue.
Yep.
Lava.
And then image.
And then images.
I mean, look at that right off the bat.
What do you see?
Do you want me to bring that up by the medium of dance?
There it is. This is blue lava.
Yep. See, there's a reason you keep me around, apart from my dashing good looks.
Yeah.
And that's because every now and again I come up with something like this.
We're going to have to go full screen without Ben and the boys here. Okay. Can we see this? Have we got another one? There we go there. Yeah, so that is blue lava. Oh, I like that one, Jerry. Look at that one. It's got all the pinks and...
So you texture your base, then you get either a technical paint or a hot glue gun to make your lava.
Yeah.
And then airbrush blues and whites onto it, or contrast paint over white, something like that. So you're getting the tone coming through. That's regular dull orange lava. Nobody wants that.
Normal lava.
Man, that's
what
terrible
we want.
lava.
Oh my goodness! Wait! Look at that.
Yeah,
Jerry, I'm astounded, man. Do you know what? I thought at the age of 43, I had nothing more to learn about lava.
There's always something more to learn about lava.
I cannot believe that I have learned something as something as amazing as that.
Really,
blue lava.
Just imagine how striking that would be with the red demons on top of it, and you don't have to worry then about the red lava's done to death. Sod red lava. That's yesterday's news. That's red lava is the goblin green basing of basing. That's so 90s. We're well beyond that. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Okay. I think we're done in here. Yes. Martin, James, we will catch you again tomorrow. We'll see. Are you guys continuing to do the program, to stream across the weekend? Yeah?
We'll be streaming every day from like about 10 a.m. through till late. So we're probably going to do roughly 10, 12 hours a day.
Right. Well, Ben is going to be in charge of the running order. So Ben, I know you've and Sam have made all these wonderful plans. Scrap that. We want to get Martin and James back in the show tomorrow. Okay. So we'll be tuning back in with you guys to find out how you're getting on. And in the meantime, if there's anybody else out in the community who wants to do some Twitch streaming or whatever, contact Ben. Let us know your Twitch channel. We'll get them embedded on the homepage. It's a big love fest here at On Tabletop.
It is.
We are hobbying the bit away. Right, I white tigered some time ago.
They must be ready.
Everything should be in place for a smooth transition. Hopefully a much smoother transition than it made it in here. Thank you everybody that's been on the chat to us. We will be picking up again tomorrow. What time, Ben, are we picking up tomorrow?
Oh God, you're making me. We're starting off tomorrow.
I want to say 12.
Give me 1 second.
It's like 2 or something, isn't it? So
right, we're starting off. There should be a corner cam going, and we can chat and all kinds of things at about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then we're actually getting fully started at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, so the
all British summertime times.
So Member Suite will start broadcasting at 1. And then we will actually start our live interactions and things with you guys from 2. But please do come on over to the On Tabletop homepage, because others, I'm sure Laughing Boy may well even be streaming before then, and others. Yep. And tomorrow we're going to be firing up the diary room. Oh, that will be fun. So we're going to start grabbing our members that are here by the scruff of the neck, chucking them into the diary room and saying, go and tell people what you've been doing. And be nice.
Be nice. I'm not allowed in the diary room. I don't know why.
That's enough from us. I'm going to go and talk to Jerry at length now about blue lava. Over to you guys in the studio.
It's 12 hours of hobby, pretty much. 10 hours. It's like 10 hours of hobby. Oh my goodness. So yes, everyone's still busy. You guys still busy? Busy. I'll come to you in a sec. What have you been at?
A bit of guard. I started doing a bit of Imperial Guard for a change instead of power armor for it, and that. Getting on slowly but steady.
Excellent. Johnny's still working away. We talked to him earlier. Still working on your Raven Guard, is it? Yeah. Dave. Hello. Dave, where do you see this? Hold on. Dave arrived with this box here. Check this out. That's full of 40k. He pre-shipped that. Oh, and it's even better. Dave also arrived with this box here. That's also full of 40k. Are any more of these boxes yours? Yeah, all of it. All of this is yours. This is yours. That's yours. That's yours. Wow. You're going to getting ready for some serious hobby there, Dave, weren't you?
I'm dedicated, yes. Or committed, or should be committed. I'm not sure which way. You choose which one.
So you got your nids with you, right? So Dave brought his nids. You plan on like whacking them down on our apocalypse table at some point?
Yeah, I think the plan for tomorrow is see if I can rope somebody into a reasonable sized game, 2,500, 3,000 points, something like that, just to break the day up a bit. I mean, 12 hours just solid painting has taken it out of me a little bit. So I've broken up the day a bit by scratch building a Tyrannid creature over there, which will probably count as a Dimakaran at some point, and tweaking the Dakajet paint scheme and painting you guys as grots, which I thought.
Yes, I did get a picture of this. Come here and have a look at this. Jerry, John, Warren, myself, and Justin. But this is the army you're actually working on. Is the orcs this weekend?
That's correct. That's the paint project for this weekend. I mean, these guys are actually the crew for this artillery piece. So later on, you can all argue amongst yourselves who gets to aim, shoot, and reload.
These guys aren't crew that then.
That's right. Yep.
Excellent. Right. I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes on, Dave. Like, it's dedication to arrive with that amount of stuff. And here at 9 o'clock in the morning, too. An hour before we officially opened. Wait, let's come on over. Whoa. Oh! Come on back this way. You can catch me. Yeah, let's go.
Of an umbilical cord, Ryan.
I'm gonna go over here, but you try and stay on this side. I'm gonna go talk to Marty. Marty, I'm coming through. I'm making my way through. Not out. You're going. Yes, here we go. Marty, what you working away on here, mate?
A bit of Dark Angels. Slowly but surely, everything's built. Everything's green. So
they're looking sweet, though. Hold on, let me try and move this out of the way. Can you spin a couple of them around for us?
Of course, those are the ones I'm working to try and build towards. That's our stage where the middle ones are, and that's the last stage. So
you're working away on it. You were trying something new as well. We were having a quick chat. You were talking about, I tried spraying on the sprue to see how I would get on this weekend. What did you think of that, mate?
I find it a waste of time. Once you find all the mold lines that you've missed on the sprue, it's you're doing the same thing twice. There's no point. But lesson learned.
Yeah, it's not really my cup of tea. Lots of people do it though, but I've come over because I spied out of the corner of my eye. Marty's got some excellent. Hold on, let me just move these over. Marty, you brought some excellent bases and stuff to put these guys on.
They're just the GW ones. They're similar to what I have for these guys. Similar enough, I think, without using any cork. So
it's a nice little upgrade though to bring the Games Workshop bases rather than just putting them on the blanks, which is looking sweet. Now Marty's actually worked on some of the house armies in here. Which ones have you worked on, Marty?
I've done the Iandan Eldar, the Minotaurs.
We inherited some Blood Angels from you recently.
Yes, the Blood Angels and the Imperial Fists.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, so
Space Wolves.
I think that's it. Oh wait, there's another one. Yeah, so if you see some 40k armies kicking around, there's a good chance Marty had something to do with it. Let's go and see what Justin's been up to. Don't worry, I'm not going to step on you. I am an expert. Oh no, I kicked him. Not an expert. Come on around here. Let's try not to kill this time. Hold on. Justin, mate. How have you been getting on? No, there is no seconds. We're live. We're live. We're live.
Let me finish this.
We're live.
Last little bit.
Okay. Justin's just putting some strokes of gold.
Okay. Are you finished stroking? I have hit my hobby goal for today.
Have you hit your hobby goal?
Yes, so my hobby goal for today was to get both tanks and one sentinel fully painted. I have just put the last stroke on the model. I am happy.
Well done.
Yeah, and I want to do one thing I've been waiting to do all day and put them on the table.
Oh, you want to see
Wait,
them
Oh, he's going to make his move. I've just squeezed in, and now he's off. Right, let's see Justin's stuff on the here. Okay, Justin? Let's see what you've got. So, hold on. Let's get Justin's stuff on the table. Hold on.
Yeah. What are they called?
The Otaran 597.
The old Warren.
Otaran.
Oh, sorry.
OTTRN. I'm really proud of those.
Can you get in nice and close on them? They're lovely, Justin.
For one day's work, I am super proud of that, and the contrast paints have been a godsend for this.
Yeah?
Yeah, now, I do have to give Gaz a big thank you, because he did one thing for me. Let me grab the pot.
Alright, so Gaz is showing Justin some sort of secret sauce.
Yeah. I first put down
Wait, so what? You're going to do what?
the tracks. I put down a high silver, Oh. Gaz then gave me this from Mig,
Uh-huh.
which let me get this nice rust effect, and then I put the Basilicum Grey over the top, and it just turns out so nice.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that. So that's my hobby for today.
Yeah.
You didn't paint underneath, man. This isn't
Really?
finished.
Yeah, dude, they're not finished. Look at
That's
that.
cheating. Trying to convince us you're
They have
finished.
turned out nice.
Yeah.
I like
So-
your energy and stuff.
I
Just
don't like your plasma.
I like his plasma.
That is a 2-paint plasma.
It's a one-day job for all of this.
Could you not have picked like a blue that actually looked like plasma?
That plasma is white and then a very thin coat of Vallejo Jade.
Well, imagine if you had picked out white and then did an ultramarine blue contrast paint.
I could have done, but I didn't have that contrast paint.
Yeah.
Well, you could have if you'd spent £10 on eBay.
Buying stupidly priced contrast paints on eBay.
Now, actually, at the weekend, everybody would have been able to get 4 contrast paints on their voucher.
Yes.
But what I did was I got 2 Apothecary White and 2 Basilicum Grey to make sure I have enough to finish the army.
And do you have enough to finish the army?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. I don't know if I will finish the army this weekend, though.
Right.
Well, you're doing a good job of it, Justin.
It's strange what you got in your starter set compared to everybody else.
No, this is stuff I picked up beforehand.
Oh.
So my starter set hasn't even been touched yet.
Oh, so you've accomplished nothing then.
Don't knock
weekend.
down what I've done there. Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. Does this mean you arrived this morning with this all pre-built?
These 3, yes, they were built.
He alpha striked.
No,
painting.
hang on.
He
How is that
striked-
alpha striking?
Yeah, you
That
did,
is me
yeah.
doing my hobby,
Uh-huh.
my way.
Yes, but
My hobby, my way.
Yeah, but you're not here to do your hobby your way.
Yeah, I am.
You're here to represent.
Well, my plan for tomorrow is to drop into this starter set. So
Well, there you go. This is what you can achieve in one day if you start a week before that day.
Yes.
No. For just painting 2 days, that's what I was fit to do.
Yes.
No building, no mucking about, just painting.
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
I'm proud
brilliant.
of myself, so to hell with you.
You should be, man. We're proud of you too. Look, I haven't seen cheating like this for. It's really good.
Now,
I'm loving the
how
color
your
scheme.
army came along?
Right. Okay. Come on.
Oh, we're gonna go over and see this. You put Warren on the spot. Bit of payback there, Justin, did you? How have you been getting
I
on?
did start from scratch today. So I opened my box. I looked at the sprues. I went, damn! That's a lot of bits. But I have built all of my guys. Thomas has one of my dudes at the moment, the banner bearer, because we're having a look. He might even be on the diary room at the moment.
To be fair, Warren, because you've been jumping in and out of the actual studio as well.
Yeah.
Looking at all the projects and things.
Yeah.
It's not like you've had all day to sit here hobbying.
No. I've been doing the other stuff as well, but I've built that. I've built my 3 juggernauts and the 3 riders. I'm keeping them separate because, as I've said on the live stream earlier, I've got hard demons and fleshy demons to do.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do my hard demons with an airbrush, and my fleshy demons, I'm just going to slap them around a little bit with a brush.
What's this thing?
This is my Demon Meatloaf Bike of Hell.
Oh.
I think that's the official GW name for it. Okay.
The Demon Meatloaf
Demon Meatloaf Bike of Hell. It's one of my hard demons. And on that, I put 3 fleshy demons. A big fleshy one in the middle, and then 2 slightly less fleshy ones at the front.
Are you going to go to...
So it's 1 in the back and 2 in the front.
Is Thomas going to help you do that?
No, Thomas is going to help me extend my banner. Because it's... My banner was good.
Yeah.
But Thomas, with his genius, is going to make it better.
So it wasn't big enough?
No.
You just looked at it and went, nah.
Bigger the better.
Bigger the better.
Bigger the better.
Right.
And he seriously could be on the diary room right now doing that.
He could be.
He could be.
But he's not.
Is he not? Where
well,
is he?
I don't know if he is. I was looking around for him.
Is he live? Thomas.
Is Thomas live?
Thomas in there?
No, he's not in the diary room.
Okay, well, he's not in the diary room then. So, yeah. I've had a blast, Lloyd.
Yeah?
I'm loving it so far. If I get these primed tonight or early tomorrow morning, plan is to get some paint on them all, and then I'm going to take them to the table to bring my fleshy demons to the table that we have worked so hard on.
Ooh. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Thomas Mayonnaise.
Thomas Mayonnaise. We were just telling them that we thought you were live streaming in the diary room, but You're here.
Apparently, I'm not. I'm in two places at the same time.
So yeah,
We're just talking about what you're
I'll
going
do it
to do.
Tomorrow then.
With Warren's hard bits and soft bits.
Yes. He's got one fleshy demon that he's going to extend the banner on.
Okay. Well,
Warren needs some compensation. He told me.
It'll have to be early though, because I need to get them primed because I'm going to paint them tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
But your paint process should go pretty quick.
And just put the banner on later.
Like you're going the contrast route, so
Yes.
like your paint should go pretty quick once you get stuck into it.
2 Blood Angels red, because I want to go for that really high orangey red.
Yeah.
And then a pot of Black Templar.
What is your base coat then?
I'm going to go. I want my demons to be warm because they're coming from the pits of hell. So I'm going for Wraithbone. I'm going to Wraithbone them. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So let's see.
Well, that's cool. Also, it's just hit YouTube a few hours ago. I'm going to spin round this way. Go back that way. Thank you very much. It's just hit YouTube a few hours ago. We have another video up all about the building. This one covers the rubble mix and stuff here that you can see, and all the coloring and the banners and things like that. So if you're interested in like some more of what we were doing on the table, go and check out YouTube. There'll be another part next week where I think we're going to show off the lighting system and stuff. We will be turning the lighting system on at some point this weekend. Just everyone's been so busy hobbying, we haven't had a chance. Look at this thing! Isn't this cool? Cameraman loves this. Ryan's on camera and he loves this. He especially loves it when we light it up. Hold on. Let me just light that up. Oh. I'm flicking some lights on. Where's the on button? Look at that. Can I hit it? Nope. Oh, it's not on. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, I should be able to get it. Oh, I'm trying to do this back. Oh, there we go. There we go. The blimp's all Batman-like. Oh, look at that. Ryan loves that. Don't you, Ryan? Yeah, that's it. That's how you say. He's sitting nodding behind the camera and thinking, that's not how it's done. Right. Hashtag 40k Hobby Weekend. Get your projects onto the website because the guys can talk about them in the live stream tomorrow. Thank you very much for Laughing Boy and anybody else who got involved in the stream today. I think we're going to have Elisor on during the night, but he's in a completely different time zone. So that might be very late at night. Right, until tomorrow, happy hobbying. See you then.